Okay, Ali. So I want to talk about belief today. Um, One of the things that I feel like I want to focus on when it comes to belief is what does belief mean to a person? And the reason, sort of like, I've wanted to discuss this with you is because lately I have been questioning my beliefs quite a lot. And I know you and I have had some conversations on the matter where we've talked about, like, what does it mean to believe in something? And as I said, lately I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm in the midst of working on one of my little projects, and it's come to this stage where I have to ask myself this question that I have been working on it for, an X amount of time. Do I believe in it enough to launch it to the public, right? And something you'll find interesting, I've been asking this question for so long about, this idea of belief. Do I believe in something uh, enough that I can launch it to the public, that I started to rephrase the question. It kind of happened 2 days ago, maybe more than 2 days ago, where I asked myself this question, the same question, but changed a few things. So I asked myself, do I believe in myself enough to make this succeed? So you see the difference between the two questions?
Hmm.
I shifted the foundation for belief, and it sort of happened on its own. And when I asked this question to myself in the moment, it felt far more impactful than, say, believing in something that is intangible, like, something you created or something, uh, your hands just made. I feel like that is a monumental shift in terms of understanding belief. When you consider that, when you say when you think of the concept of belief, you think about, like, belief in yourself. How do you see that?
For me, for belief, it's honestly just to give it, just to put it into one line or so, or just to put it in a sentence. It's tough just because different people believe means different things. And I myself, since a few days, I've been thinking about what the word exactly means to me. Belief, right? I I feel for me, belief means a state of mind. So what state of mind am I, or how am I? Yeah, what state of mind am I in before pursuing something? Let's say, let me give example. Let me put into example. And this is again just thinking about this concept of belief. Belief is when you have an idea about something working out a certain way, or you trust it to be a certain way, right? That, hey, I believe that this is going to be good. I believe that this will work out, or I believe that when I do this, this will happen, like the cause and effect of it, right? But then at the same time, people, one might question me that, hey, what happens when things do not work out, right? You believed in something. You were like, oh, okay, Raman, I believe if I do this, this will happen, right? But then now I now I acted according to my belief, and the thing did not happen. So what what then? Because this is the part, like like when thinking about belief, this is the part that kept coming back to me. I was like, man, yes, belief. I believe in this. I believe in this. Perfect. But what happens when my belief doesn't work out? Right? What happens then? Then how do I define belief when belief doesn't work? And
So
that's it.
you're
So, hmm.
so you're measuring it also from the outcome, right?
It,
If it's successful, then then the belief is valid. But if it isn't successful, are you saying that it shatters your notion in the belief, or it shatters the concept of the belief?
so again, the word shatter is
Yeah.
exactly where what made me rethink belief. I was like, if it shatters, right, then that wasn't belief in a way, because
Okay.
or if it shatters too quickly, okay.
Okay.
But so then what is belief? Because somebody can shatter my belief very quickly about something, right? So then, what is belief? Belief was this belief some knowledge that I had or something that I trusted to be true, but then now it's not. Was that belief? But then that's not belief. So I kept thinking about this, the word belief itself. So I was like, and then what is belief, Ali? Like, how do you think about belief? And then I feel something something clicked in my mind, which I want to share. So
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
that I felt that belief is in a way is the cause of an action and effect. And so belief is what allows you to take an action, or is what makes an action easy, seamless, or makes it happen. That I would not take an action if I did not believe it to work, right? If I knew that this thing will not work 100%, then my approach to it, or my energy behind it, or my effort behind it would not be at a level of if I believed in it,
Right.
right? Okay, so then I was like, okay, so then belief is pretty much a thing that gives me the push or the energy or allows me to think of this thing in a certain way so that I may take action behind it. So that was the very first thing that I was like, okay, this part makes sense to me. And then I'm going to bring back the very first thing that I said, that what if it doesn't work out? Then what happens to the belief, right? Then I took it one step further. I was like, okay, then if I keep, then belief, it is belief that allows me to keep pursuing it and make changes to it till the time it works in my favor. Everything, and just to add to this, everything in life, or mostly everything in life, is based on probabilities. Sometimes things would work and sometimes things would not work, right? Does not matter how perfectly it's done, does not matter how, there's always a probability of things working and probability of things not working, right? And you can put that to you can test that with pretty much anything. In at least in my mind, I'm thinking that everything has a probability. Belief is what allows you to continue pursuing that thing to a point where the probability becomes in your favor. And the only way you can pursue something or strategize something or keep correcting something is because you had belief that it would work out or it would be in your favor. And this idea, now that I'm saying it out loud, kind of brings me back to one of the conversations we had, Numan. And this was very specific to our belief and desire conversation, if you remember,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
where and if you can remind me, at that point in time we were talking about why, Numan, why did you keep pursuing it, right?
Right, because I said I believed in myself.
Right, and then you kept pursuing, and every time you would pursue it, you would do something better towards it, right? You were not hitting the hammer, or you were not hitting the nail
Right.
at the same point just because there was a belief that, hey, this could be done, there is a way to do it, it's just that I haven't figured out the way to do it. But if you did not have that belief, you would never even you would never even pursue or strategize it further, right? You would be like, man, this doesn't work, I'm not doing it, done. So so then I thought, I was like, okay, in this sense, then belief is something that at first allows me to take action, and then allows me to pursue that action, and then allows me to strategize that action. And a break of belief is not because that thing did not work out. That thing did not work out because there was a fault in my system, a fault in my strategy, or a fault in my model. And if I was to look back, correct it, make it better, then the results would be better. So the outcome part of the belief completely went away. It was not outcome based anymore. It was more process based. If that does that does that help, Numan? In terms of me clarifying my point?
So you're saying belief is less about outcomes. So, as in, like, it's not a conviction that something is true or something will happen, as in the outcome, right? You say belief is more about systems and processes,
Yes.
right?
It's not about the outcome. No.
Right. So belief is more about systems and processes. So the systems you create for yourself, the processes you create to achieve a desired outcome will essentially is essentially what you would consider belief.
Yes, it's almost a filter that you it's a filter that you put on your mind and on your vision of something, that allows you to pursue that thing or see it in a different light so that you keep on, so that you keep at it. It's not about the final result of it. The final result becomes inevitable in that sense if you are constantly correcting course, right? But what allows you to keep correcting course is the belief that it could be done, right? So the so
Yeah, I'm visualizing what you have said
Mhm.
in my head, right? And I am understanding it more now. So the
Mhm.
way I'm seeing it, right, is you're standing as a person, doesn't matter which way you're facing, okay? On the right hand side is the outcome, on the left hand side are your processes and systems. You're saying that I want what is on the right, but to get to what I want on what is on the right, I have to believe in the left, and I have to believe that it's malleable enough that it steers me in that direction.
Yes, in a way, like with like it's. I think you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that that thing will bend for you, okay? But you will, like um,
Like you can alter the strategy, like the strategy is malleable, right? Like it can be
yes,
changed. Like you have to have belief that, I have a general strategy that will push me in that direction, but it's not something that's fine tuned because you can't know exactly what you need, right? Like if it's a journey thing, it's going to change. There's so many variables to consider, but you have to believe in the strategy that this is the path that I want to take, and I have to avoid the loose steps, the broken rocks or whatever it is, and so that I don't slip and fall.
yeah, yeah, the correction of the course is
Hmm.
where the belief plays a big part. Or else, why would you keep correcting course when you know that, hey, if you've given up already, or if you know it's not going to work, right? If your belief about that thing has been shattered or has been broken, or from the start you did not believe in it, right? Then correcting course behind that thing is a very tough thing to do, right? Or to pursue that thing is a very tough thing to do, just because you know that, man, I don't even believe in this. So why would I put so much energy and work behind it? But once you believe in something, right? Then even when failure comes your way, you look at it different, right? You don't look at it as failure. You're like, okay, what needs to be corrected? Because I know it can be done, right? I know this can be done. It's just that it didn't happen for me now, right? So that and the word probability really brought it home for me. I was like, Ali, in life, nothing is guaranteed. There's always probabilities, right? Of something working out or something not working out, right? Like you could just saying that you could hit the perfect pitch on in a baseball, right? Or a perfect hit, right? With the best force, with the best angle, with the best thing. But if the winds were not in your favor that day, okay, it might not land where you wanted to land, right? Because there's always a probability or some factor, something that might not be in your favor at that point in time. So again, just giving light to this idea of probability. So the probability, because before I was thinking, I was like, man, if I believed in it, I know it could be done, and if it doesn't get done, then I'll just keep pushing it harder. That's true too, but then if somebody tells me, but like, hey, Ali, it clearly did not work out, right? So do you still believe? And then I was trying to think of an answer for that. I was like, did that person just trump me? Or did he just kind of checkmated me with my belief, just because he completely showed me failure of my belief, right? And just because I see the first failure of my belief, that means it does not exist, or I was wrong throughout. And then the idea of probability came. I was like, man, so belief is everything has a probability of working out, of not working out. Belief makes the probability in your favor of that thing working out because belief allows you to strategize, remodel the system, because failure does not just push you away, what it would do to a person who was a non-believer. So that's how I started thinking about belief a little bit. Since I started
Eh,
thinking about the reverse, once I started thinking, if somebody was to question me, how am I saying that? Hey, uh, what is belief to you, Ali? Right?
right. So I see your viewpoint on this one. and I see how you understood belief. It's very interesting how you align yourself with basically the systems and processes, right? Now, I agree with that. It's not that I don't agree with that part. I think that is what defines a belief naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to read you a little paragraph that I wrote a while back on belief, because it's a concept I've explored for so long, like done so many things on this. Um, One thing that I still think that a question that remains, because we've taken a very inside view of belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're approaching this from a very personal level. Yes, like when we're talking about belief, we're not talking about something that's universal, right, Ali?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm saying like this is just local beliefs,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like what you believe in, like I probably won't believe in the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is the view I take of belief too, because I don't think there is such a thing as a universal belief, right? Like I don't know what that would look like, or what that would, even how that would be processed. But I want to read you this paragraph because it made me think of what you were saying. And I wrote this a little while back. I was trying to define what a belief is. So I wrote, a belief is in a conviction that something is true. It is at its very root a bundle of emotions that give you hope, bring joy and comfort, accompanied by a whisper that says it's going to be okay, you can do this, and above all else, it is adding tangibility to the intangible through a series of actions and rituals.
Okay. Okay. So okay.
So you see that last point, actions and rituals?
Say I repeat the last two lines again, Oman.
And the last two lines, okay. It is, at its very root, a bundle of emotions that give you hope, bring joy and comfort, accompanied by a whisper that says, it's going to be okay, you can do this, and above all else, it is adding tangibility to the intangible through a series of actions and rituals.
Yes. Yes. The last part, what you said about actions and rituals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's so true, right? Because belief without action is
Mm-hmm.
just a thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just words. Like
Right.
belief belief needs to be in my mind for something to be a belief. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just something that you say. Your action is what shows your conviction, or shows your uh shows your conviction behind that belief, that hey, does this guy really believe in this or not, right? If you tell me something, hey Ali, I believe in this, but then I've never ever seen you act according to that belief, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means this is just words in your mind, right? These are just
Okay.
words in your mind, right? It's not a belief. If it was a
Okay.
belief, you would have acted a certain way, taking that, showing that belief, right?
Right.
And that goes for so many, like at a personal level. I felt that even even like few years ago, right? Or when I was a little bit younger, I would think, man, I would say, I believe in this, or my belief about myself is this, or my belief about this thing is this. Example, okay? But when the time came to act according to my belief, I saw that I wasn't acting according to my belief. Like, let me keep it something very, very simple. That you believe that the stock example, you believe that the stock market goes up only. Example, okay? But you never put money behind it, okay? You
Right.
keep telling people, hey, stock market only goes up. This stock only goes up. This stock will only go up because of this. I believe so. If you believe so, would you put money behind it? And if you're not putting the money behind it, right? Then do you really believe that? If
Right.
you're right? So action, I feel your belief is really uh and going back to what you said about what were the two words, Noman? Actions and rituals, right? The actions
Action
and
and
rituals.
rituals, yeah.
But the part that I felt that I can add to that is that actions and rituals also constantly need to adapt and change according to the feedback of that belief, right? Like if the thing if that belief has got you a little bit off target, right? Or like you have received, like you believed in something, you went for it, and the result was not what you were expecting, right?
Right.
Does that change your belief about does your change your belief about the thing, or does that change your strategy towards that thing, still believing that it could be that I can get there? What part of you changes, right? It's like,
It's a I just want to sort of like,
uh,
pick apart this question for a
let's
second,
say,
Ali. I think it's a very important question to
mm-hmm,
ask, right? Like, does your belief change? So
mm-hmm,
I think like maybe just for a second we can sort of talk about like how the concept of belief or like our knowledge of belief also evolves as we discover it, right? Because if you'd asked me this question, like, say, 5 or 6 years ago about belief, right?
mm-hmm.
I would have said, if something didn't work out, and I would have said, I believed in the wrong thing just
True,
because it didn't work.
true.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
would have blamed that, I just chased the wrong thing. But if you would have asked me, well, what did you do to ensure that outcome? I would have stared you blank in the face, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I believed in it. It should have just worked out. Like, why didn't it just
Mm-hmm.
come to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So see, that's the thing, right? But I think like another thing, Ali, sort of like a clarification, which
Mm-hmm.
I feel that is very necessary, is when we talk about belief, there is this mistake where people think that it's a reference to something divine,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I find that people often confuse belief with that, and they don't understand that it's about your systems and processes, your actions and rituals, your habits, your essentially everything to do about you. Like, we're not putting this on someone else outside of you. It's
Mm-hmm.
essentially all about you, right? And this question that you asked right now, where I said, yes, how I was 5, 6, 7 years ago and
Mm-hmm.
how I see belief now. Would you agree with me that, this is something you have also experienced to some degree?
uh, this change in the idea of belief,
Yeah.
100%, bro. Like honestly, 100%. The idea of belief was for me only attached to the idea of, as you said, divine or religion. Belief was only about that. To be honest with you, it was only about believing in something unseen, like unseen, untested belief. Like I felt all the beliefs given to me. So let me rephrase this. All the beliefs I had were given to me. That's how I really felt about it. And none of the beliefs I had self cultivated. It's only in the recent years that I have my own original beliefs about things and about certain aspects about me, myself, the world around me, and things around me. Before, it was all the beliefs and things that were passed on to me. No, not even a single original belief, no man. Which is kind of like a little bit,
I think, I
right.
agree with you on this one because I find myself in a similar position where I've questioned my beliefs a lot. I've written extensively about beliefs, and the fact that when you just said right now that you've cultivated your own beliefs quite recently, right? The last few years or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, same here. Like, that's exactly what I am thinking. Because most of the beliefs that I hold right now, well, I should say, most of the beliefs that I firmly hold right now, that I
Mhm.
have like unquestionable faith in, they have been self cultivated. Like, I don't find myself bringing back any beliefs from, say, my childhood. I don't find myself, bringing back any of the beliefs that were sort of like indoctrinated, like I was indoctrinated into. So I
Mhm.
don't, I don't, I don't see that. And I think like this is one of those things that happened when I started to question and understand more as to what is a belief, right? Like, I think it was such an important question to ask. And I see that you are also on that same journey where you've also sort of discovered this. But I think like maybe I feel like I should ask you this before I say something about this. So you know how you come to this sort of realization that it's about how the systems and processes as we've
Mhm.
defined it sort of right now, right? Like this was obviously not an overnight thing. Do you think, like, in your opinion, you had that sort of like epiphany, or you were doing something and it just sort of like dawned on you, like, hey, I am looking at this the wrong way? Am I asking that
No,
right?
no, that's a really good question. I would say it's there's no one single aspect that did it, Aman. It was of like five, six things together over time that I witnessed, I understood, I looked at, I like, and I think it was just the maturity of thinking. Like, just learn. Like honestly, just first, the very first thing was learning how to think. To be very honest with you, because coming from a culture, coming from a place where we're thinking outside the box, or just thinking, uh, is not is not or is not to appreciate it in a way, or to express those. Let me put it this way: to express those thinkings in your life are not to appreciate in a way, because rules and regulations in the way of life have been uh, have been written down for you in that sense, right? So I say when I learned to think, just something as simple as like uh, being a student. Why couldn't what why how could he get those marks and not me, right? Just example. So is it because am I bad at something, or maybe I just didn't prepare for something enough, right? What if I was to study with that person? Example, right? I'm very sure my grades would improve, and then haven't done that. It did happen, right? So it was almost like a through a lot of thinking process, a lot of looking back at things from a very new perspective, from a very new, like a blank slate, almost to a point that it was very emotionally uh like it was difficult emotionally, right? To look at things in a different light, to question my beliefs, right? To question the things that I know, to question my elders, right? And their beliefs and what they have passed on to me, and no disrespect to them, right? They lived their life, they experienced their things, they saw things the way they did, so that's why they might have these certain beliefs, or even to them it was passed on and they never corrected it, right? So it was more of a thing over time, that and again, I say this again and again. I think this is the third, fourth time in our conversation that I'm saying this, that one thing that I understood and that really helped me figure out stuff was this idea of change. That, Ali, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? For something to change, something has to change, right? Something needs to be different for a different outcome. It cannot be the same for this. It cannot be doing the same and expect a different outcome. This point kind of really, I don't know, if there was one sentence, it was this one, and the other, if somebody else can, then I can, right? If it has been done, then it can be done. It's just a matter of the systems and the resources, and like just putting things together in that sense. So these things over time I saw within myself. I was like, okay, it's belief is, yeah. So it was it was an accumulation of five, six ideas coming together, and then questioning my, not questioning my belief, but questioning my idea of the word belief. That's what I think. That's so years of uh la- last few years of sitting down, looking back, thinking about stuff, questioning stuff, having conversations, having, these kind of conversations, right? Where you get asked, you get questioned, you think about stuff, and just having, and I don't know where this comes from or how this came about, but just the strength to question what I know, right? Just to go like, man, just to be able to kind of look behind the curtain, go like, hey, is there more? I've always been told not to look more for more, because everything has been answered, but is it there more? I'm very, so curiosity. Now that I'm thinking, maybe curiosity might be. So all in all, honestly, it's like, I don't know what one thing to give it to, but it's been an accumulation of a few books, few people, few lectures, few listenings, few meditations, uh few late night walks by myself thinking about things. It's been an accumulation of that, I would say.
That's a very in-depth response to that question. I appreciate you for like explaining it so well.
Mm.
One thing I want to sort of like ask you, it was very interesting when you said that, like you started to question, you started to sort of like look into things. Um, did you ever find yourself in this position where you felt this sort of like sense of liberation, like a
No,
sense of freedom, like your
I,
mind has expanded? You kind of
bro,
understand what
I feel it every day. Yeah, yeah. I honestly, since that time, I feel it every single day. Every single day. There is no, like, honestly, and that's very evident with our conversations as well, Noman, that nothing is upsetting. Okay. Even when beliefs get challenged or get broken, right? It's not upsetting at all. It's more like, okay, a new way of looking at things. That's amazing. A new perspective at things. That's even better. What else do I want in life? I want growth in life, right? Life needs to be progressive, right? So, because one thing I really just another belief, Naman, that all beliefs all beliefs like depending all beliefs have all beliefs can be shattered or can be changed. Not shattered. Let me give it a little bit of a positive. All beliefs can be changed in that sense because it's not about who is right or what believes it, or it's about what is right. Right? If the right is right, then I have to believe what is right. I cannot just say because I don't like the right, I'm not going to believe in that right. It is what it is. I might not believe in something or I might believe in something, and then one day I see that thing in front of me. What am I going to do? Still not believe it? Still, still say, no, it doesn't. Even though I
right.
see it, even though, no, I'm completely fine with it. I'm completely fine with knowing that my beliefs can get challenged, and if so, I will have to. I might have to change. Change. It will have an effect on me, but I know how to deal with it. Right? If I don't, example, if I it's if I believe in angels, but I never see one, I still believe in angels. But if I don't believe in angels and I see one day, right? Then what am I doing? Am I gonna, am I gonna say,
Right.
oh no, it was just a, oh no, like so you see, you have to be very open, like, and that openness, I think, is very well reflected in our, even for people listening. When I say that it's very well reflected in this conversation, in our conversations, is because we challenge each other with things without hurting, without, and it's not about me trying to like, it's not about hurting, but it's about getting hurt. You before, if somebody and it has happened before when I was younger, people would say, I have got into fights before over belief, right? Fights,
Right.
arguments,
Yeah.
friendships have gone away. Fights have broken out. Tears have been shed. Right? It's uh, uh, so much stuff has happened just because a belief would get challenged. And now it's such a different perspective. We're like, oh, I know. I'm very well aware that if five people were to read the same line from a textbook, all five can have different interpretations of it according to how they want to see it, what their past experiences have been. So then, who am I to assert my belief onto somebody, or allow somebody to assert their belief on me without a proper discussion?
Right. I will tell you one thing when you mentioned about, fighting for beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a this is a very, very, I would say, um, point that I resonate with quite a lot, because I have been in a position where, I've believed in things to the point where I've taken an extremely aggressive stance, right? And I'm ready to fight the other person. And I'm not talking about a physical fight, just verbally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like tell them
Mm-hmm.
off. And I've been in that position a few times, but ever since sort of like shifting into this new mindset of how I approach belief now and how I perceive it. Anytime someone challenges my belief, just as you said, like if someone comes and challenges your belief, like now when I have people challenge my belief, the first thing that sort of goes through my head isn't like, what words should I use to insult this person? right? Like
Mhm.
the thing that goes through my head is like, what questions should I ask this person that can help me? Right? Because if someone's challenging my belief, now I need to find out, like, is the challenge legitimate, right? Like, or are they just talking nonsense? Because what if I ask them some like important questions, about, whatever my belief is, whatever mission that I'm hoping to, succeed in, right? And this will help me understand if this person is coming from a genuine standpoint, or if they're just, talking nonsense. And I found that it's easy to let people challenge my beliefs and just sit there and, nod in agreement and call it a day, right? Smile and wave, boys. And this is one of the things about the liberation you experience when you start questioning your beliefs, is that you are not bound to them in a way that you have to defend them with your life. Like, you're not disrespected if someone just challenges your beliefs, because now is an opportunity for you to understand them even better, or ask yourself, do I even understand my beliefs as well as I think I do? Can I defend them right now properly? Can I ask the right questions? And
Mhm.
yeah, go on.
No, continue, please.
No, and I think like this is one of those skills that I have found is so new to me. I am absolutely astounded by how well it works for me. Right? Like, it's like something I tell myself, man, if I had known I could do this in certain areas of my life, if I could react a certain way, if I could process this a certain way, if I had known that there were alternatives as compared to what I was doing, I would have jumped on this a long time ago, but I didn't know it. I don't know if it has something to do about maturity or the way, we're raised or what we've learned, but it has been one of my favorite sort of things that I have taken away from this journey, is my ability to remain seated and ask the right questions, and then assess that, do I need to adjust my systems and processes because my I'm what I believe in is not going to get me to the right outcome, or if I've just been inundated with nonsense information. So that's one thing that I found very interesting. And just mentioning this, Ali, we talked
Mhm.
about a lot about actions, right? And this kind of reminded me. I think it's a very important aspect of it is the behavior it sort of instills in you. You know what I mean when I say the word behavior here, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Right?
I
And
see, I do. Yeah, like the
yeah,
action behind the belief, right? Pretty much
yeah, yeah. The action behind, like, like
forward, behind or forward of the belief, right? Like after the
yeah,
belief or like, okay, okay.
right. Like, and do you see this sort of like gradual improvement before actions are sort of like haphazardly sort of like firing in the air and hoping you hit something, right? Like, now it's very well measured. It's very well sort of thought out. It's not just like, just pray, spray and pray, right?
Mhm.
Have you found yourself in a similar position when we talk about behavior?
Man, even when you use the word pray now, right? Right? In your last sentence, you
Right.
use the
Yeah.
word pray, right? Even this idea of belief has changed the way I pray now, to be honest with you. Before all the prayers were like, uh, please give me this, please give me that, right? Like please make it happen, please make this happen, right? Now it's more like,
Right.
now it's like, please give me the knowledge, right? Please give me the, essence of how am I supposed to make this happen, right? Because I know it can happen, and I know it's not just going to happen like. And again, I'll be very honest. I do believe in miracles, right? So that part of me is still there, right? That I do believe in miracles, but at the same time, I know the probabilities of it, right? At the end of the day, so I see that my prayers have changed a lot, Norman. The way I used to pray before and the way I word my prayers right now are very different. Now I don't ask for. Of course, I always ask for gifts and blessings, but I also ask for strength and the courage for me, the guidance for me to do it the right way, right? Like that part has maybe maybe always it was always there, but now I understand more of this scenario that it's more about what comes. like what comes through me. It's my actions and my beliefs. I cannot just say that uh, uh, like this is how it is, this is how it is, and never put the work behind it, right? Like if I want to, if I want a certain thing, I know I need to be involved in that, in that model as well. The model does not work without me, or the strategy does not work without my involvement. I need to be involved. Before, I think it was more of like praying just to be involved with the final result, not in being involved in the process of it. To be honest, now I understand that I have to pray to be strong in the process, or to be able to see the process as well. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It was always about the end result. Hey, give me
No,
this. Now it's about, man, give me the strength to go to the process so that so that I can do this.
right.
Kind of, like it's a it's a little bit of a different
I
approach
get what
to.
I get what you're saying. It's that idea. Like I think I used to say like I don't want this to happen to me. I want to make this happen to me. Right? Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be a passive participant in my life where miracles are happening all around me and money is magically appearing in my bank account and I'm suddenly getting promoted. Businesses are being started in my name. Like I don't want that to
Yeah.
happen. Like that's not belief, right? Like that's just sitting in a corner and just like yeah, like let all the good things happen to me. I am ready.
Yeah.
That doesn't that doesn't work. Right? Like my arms are open. Come money, come like I don't I no I think it's really about like I want to make these things happen to me because that's the thing, right? Like that's I think that's the key that most people mistake about misunderstand about belief, right? Like a lot of people think like yeah, if I just believe in it, like it's gonna happen, bro. And like it will happen. I remember like it just reminds me of this time, Ali, just a sort of like a funny anecdote. In in university, sorry, not university, my just before university, the last year of schooling, and the last 2 years of schooling. So it was the second last year of schooling, and I had this friend, and we our exam system, you're probably familiar, is this like in a year you have 3 terms, right? You have to pass
Mm-hmm.
2 terms to be able to go to the next year of your schooling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had this one kid, and he'd failed the second term, but he had somehow convinced himself that he was gonna do like really really well in the third term, and yeah, they'd promote him. The school had informed him that bro, this is not happening. Like you failed 2 terms, like
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to the next year. But he believed it. He believed in it so much. He prayed every morning. Like we'd see him praying, and we tried to explain to him like you cannot change this outcome. Like it's not gonna happen. He thought we were making fun of him. He thought that we just we weren't on his side. In the end, what do you think happened, right? The system said no. Like he still did well in the third term, not as
Mm-hmm.
well as he'd hoped, but he passed the third term. But they never let him move forward. But he still believed in it. And I remember, while all of us were moving to the next class like little boxes, and this guy was just sitting outside, and people were trying to talk to him. He was more shattered, not about the fact that he didn't go to the next class, but that his belief didn't work out. He's like, bro, I believed in it. I prayed and God didn't listen to my prayers. And we're like, bro, God can't do anything. This is a legal requirement. Like, we'll just show the paper to God. Like, he's not going to change the universe for you, right? Like, this was just not possible. And it's one of those things like I just wanted to share with you this funny anecdote
Mm-hmm.
because it just reminded me that belief is not sitting in a corner and hoping for things to happen. It's like a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? That, like you said, the action behind it. So another thing I feel like about belief that I think about a lot is trying to understand. I don't know if you ever asked this question to yourself. Like I know that for a fact that people can have many many beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there's no such thing as just one belief in a person. Like you can have many many beliefs. I have found that sometimes, like, given the kind of person that we are, the kind of things that we do. Like we're a bit more on the entrepreneurial side, we're a bit more on the experimenting side. You question a lot of things, you try a lot of things. I find that the liberation that comes with this sort of like expanded sense of belief, it allows you to better question the beliefs that you hold, as in like, is this belief still serving me, right? Just because you have succeeded at something, like do you find yourself in that position, like where you've succeeded in doing something, you have it, and now you're at a state of life where you're like, should I still be holding on to this, right? Like
There has
do I need
been
to go past this? You
constant.
am I
Mhm.
saying, am I
No, no,
asking
you're
that
making
right?
you're on point. You're on point with this. To be honest with you, it's like I'm just going to address a couple of things that you said. One of the things being this one, that first, it's conflict of belief does take good things away from you. To be very honest with you, I uh, when we were talking about, when we were talking about this guy, right, who believed in, that, oh, I'm gonna
Past, yeah.
go to the next level, yeah, pass and everything. It's, if, like, let's say, if I don't know who's saying is this, that you have to create a garden in order to attract the butterflies. Okay, example. So you have to cultivate yourself in order to bring the good things in, and if the good things don't come, at least you have a good garden. Okay, so you do end up with something good. In his case, he did pass, as you said, right? He didn't go to the next level, but he did do better in the third term, right?
Right.
If he had not believed any of that, if you would have given up, go like, man,
Yeah.
two terms gone, third is also messed up. Who cares? So then it's inevitable he's going to fail the third one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there was something still green in there, because he didn't get exactly what he wanted, right? But he still did better than where he was, right? So that in itself kind of like puts you onto a trajectory that, hey, if I did this much and this happened, what if I was to do it more better next time? What else could there be? Right? That also kind
Right.
of puts you on that path. And then conflict of belief, Naman. I think conflict of belief is such a big thing. It's like there are so many cool experiments done with this. Like even like belief really, really, in my mind, your beliefs really dictate your life, man. If you have the idea that money comes hard, money will come to you hard. Even when easy money comes to you, you will not be able to digest it or take it. Just because your idea is not such, right? If you don't believe that, hey, riches are gonna come to me, even when they come to you, you will feel uncomfortable to a point that you might give it back. Trust me. And the thing is that when I say trust me, the reason why the trust me came out was because I personally have gone through that. That
Really? Oh.
I like a certain belief about something, and even though it came to me, just because I had a different idea, or or a belief about it, I let go of it, and then later I was like, man, I was blessed at the time, just but because I just thought blessings only come a certain way, right? Or they should only come the way I believe them to come to me. I completely let it go. What a fool! Next time I'm not gonna let that happen. Lesson learned. So uh, that goes to, like, there was an experiment done, I think in New York City or so, where a person was holding a sign saying that, "Ask me for money and I will give it to you." Okay,
Right.
ask me for money and I will give it to you. He was amazed. He was begging people, guys, if people walking by, ask me for money and I will give it to you, whatever amount you say. And literally, I think it was under some certain amount. I think he only got one person asking him for a free coffee, and of course, he bought it for him. And like analyzing that part was that people walking by, example, did not believe in free money. They did not believe that money can just get handed out, even though it was right there, in front of their eyes, right? Somebody saying that, ask me for money, and you can say so many things behind it, that, hey, it could be a scam, it could be this, but these are your beliefs about the world, right? That there is no free money, nobody will ever hand out money to me. Why would
Right.
somebody, even though somebody is right there doing it right there and then telling you, all you have to do is ask, I will give it to you. The ask never comes because you don't believe in that. So this conflict of belief also lets go of opportunities from you. A friend might come to you and give you such an amazing business idea, but since you don't believe in income in that way, you're not going to take up on that opportunity, because your belief about income is a very different way. right? Your income about belief comes from example 9 to 5 working hard rather than you know whatever entrepreneurial way that your friend might have come up to you with in that sense, right? So these small beliefs really dictate our lives. When a person believing that the world is scary is always out there to lock his cars, lock his doors, and like very seeing people with that eye, right? Whereas a person believing world is very friendly and this is all very outgoing, talking to people, making things, so just this, even the smallest, slightest change in belief really dictates how you like, because it's one world, right? Even though it's one world, everybody's having a different experience, and those experiences and those actions are based upon what beliefs you have about that certain thing, right? Like another thing I was just thinking yesterday, I was like, man, uh, I was able. There was one point in time I was able to do cold showers, right? Like those morning cold showers where you when this was a when this was the most advertised thing online, taking cold showers, Uma, right? To bring
Right.
right, the ice baths and the cold showers and things
Yeah.
like that. Okay. So this was just because the water was so cold yesterday. I was touching it. I was like, man, I don't think I can do it. Now it's so cold. This water. It's been quite some time I haven't done it. So and just because of this topic, I was reflecting. So I was like, man, the only reason that I cannot step into this water right now is because my belief that it's going to be so beneficial for me has gone. At that point in time, I really made myself believe that this is so beneficial for me. It's really gonna change things if I just go through a cold shower every single day. My fat burning, my day is that I just made such a positive belief about it that I was able to do it. But imagine me telling somebody who has no idea, no belief about this, go like, bro, you should start taking ice baths. He'd be like, man, I'm not doing it. Why? What? Ice baths? Why would I put myself through that? Right? So it's just that your belief or your take about something, how you look at something, really allows you to kind of pursue, uh, like, like it makes your experience different about that specific action.
Right. It's I, as you say this,
Mhm.
what I am thinking about right now, Ali, specifically that the ice bath example you gave.
Uh-huh.
So I also tried to do the ice bath thing, and I did it for a
Hmm.
while. And just like you, I think I also struggled in the beginning, and then eventually I
Hmm.
questioned my entire process to it, like how I was approaching it. And once you figure it out, it becomes a little easier. And then I stuck
Hmm.
with it for a while, and then I gave up. But as you were saying this, I was thinking about something, like what came to my head. So I mentioned to you as we started this that I've been lately working on a project, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I want to bring this project to the people, and I'm now looking into my beliefs about this project, looking into beliefs about my systems and processes. And I was just thinking about it. And what came to my mind is that I have worked on this project for almost, I would say, 6+ years now, almost 10 years, actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been almost 10 years. And in those 10 years, I've tried to get this product or this project sort of live like two or so times, one or two times. And it's never worked out. And each time that it's failed, I've thought about like why it failed, what happened, what went wrong with it, and started questioning all of these things. And I was so fixated on this project, like why it wasn't working out. I stopped asking the right questions. And this time around, I was motivated to try again, and I wanted to get it out there. And this time around, when I went into it, I I literally, you're not gonna believe me. I had the ice bath example in my head. You know the guy, what's his name? The Hoffman. That's his name,
Uh-huh.
right?
Wim,
Hoff.
Wim Hof, Wim
Yeah,
Hoffman. Yeah.
Wim Hoffman or Ben Hoffman, something like that.
Wim
Uh,
Hoffman.
Wim Hoffman, and he has that technique that he tells people that you should do if you're trying this out for the first time. Like you don't have to be like some kind of Superman and just like step into ice
Mm-hmm.
cold water. Like you have to condition your body. Like he says that a lot, right? Like it gets easier the more you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that specifically, right? So you have to like practice that breathing technique he shows you,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like that rap. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I start, and at first I remember when he first showed it, right? I was like, yo, this guy is crazy. Like, I'm never doing this. Even though I still wanted to do like ice baths, but I refused to do the whole breathing thing, right? Because I just thought it was weird and kind of looked funny. And then I started doing it, and obviously it worked. And so I took that same example to this project that I'm working on. And I asked myself, like, if I wanted to succeed, what do I have to believe in? Right? Like, what other things where I need to put my belief in? What other things that I need to, consider more than the outcome that I am chasing here? Right? Like, where do I need to take that torch and put the light? And it came down to like, well, what kind of systems and processes did I have the last time to achieve the desired outcome? And did I believe in them? And I could not find any sense of consistency. I could not find the action, as we discussed, the when we talk about behavior, the action behind the instinct, as we said. um, I could not find any of it. So this time round, I asked myself that if I believe in the outcome that this project is going to succeed, then I need to do things that service that outcome, and I need to do them at a frequency that is satisfactory to that outcome. What that is, I don't know. I have to figure it out as I go. And I was journaling about this yesterday. No, not yesterday. I think 2 days ago. I was journaling about this. And in my journal, I asked myself that why have I never asked myself these questions before? Like, how is it that I'm asking myself these questions right now about belief? Like, it's become the center point for everything. Where was this when I started this project? I believed in it so much, Ali. Like, you see how I'm phrasing my sentences here. I
Mm-hmm.
believed in the project so much. I was willing to do whatever it took, but then I never did anything to, get it there. But now I see it's the opposite. I believe in my processes so much that I know they're gonna get me the desired outcome. It's going to take a little longer. I know I have to adjust them. I know I have to, figure it out as I go along. But my belief has completely gone away from the outcome. Like, I don't even look at like what I would consider a success metric. I look at what I am putting in terms of my actions, in terms of the rituals I have, in terms of the processes I've created. And I find more comfort, and I think the word I would love to use right now is faith in what I am doing. I don't know if you differentiate between faith and belief. I sometimes like to differentiate. I think they might be two entirely different things, but I have more faith in this journey, so to speak, that I am on, that it will have a favorable outcome as long as, I have the belief in the right place. Are you following like what I'm trying to preach here?
100%, 100%. Like the idea of belief in the outcome is so is where is where dreams die. To be honest with you, is where
I
belief
love
is
that.
where
Yeah.
belief goes. Yeah, where belief goes away completely if just focused on the outcome
Yeah.
and not understanding the process of it at all. Like there have been so many things, and sometimes it really hurts, man. You have been doing, you've had the right, you've had the belief, right, of something working out for you, right, and you have been consistently doing it for the last 2 years, right, and in the third year, you go through this kind of feeling, right, that hey, maybe my approach is wrong. Okay, not my belief is wrong about the outcome. My approach is wrong. And now to change that approach, because you fall in love with the process and the approach too, right? You fall in love with that entire process in that sense, right? And then you're like,
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
now I have to change the way I was. I'm still looking at it, but now I have to change how I'm looking at it. Even that stuff. But then the success lies in making that change, right? There is no like, or else the result will be the same. It's not about the result. It's I really, really feel that this is going to sound a bit philosophical, but if you've had a thought about something that can be done, it can be done. At, at an expense of what? That depends. But if you've had a thought of it, have a desire of it, if it has been done, if it has come to your mind that it needs to be done, or you want it done, it can be done. Then comes all the different parts. What sacrifice it requires, what strategy it requires, what kind of lessons, the knowledge, So because whatever you aim for, you cannot just say that hey, I'm gonna be I'm looking forward to become the best cardiologist in the world, and never study cardiology or never study, medical sciences, right? Doesn't happen this way, right? You have to go through the process of that will put you in the direction of that outcome. And sometimes you have to change schools, change classes, change teachers. And the best is you have to change yourself. Uh, but that doesn't mean that the belief is, that the outcome or the result has gone away. It's just that, hey, it requires a new, it requires a new approach. And that's completely fine till the time it gets me there, right? You should like the processes and systems are like, man, I'm ready to do anything and everything to get this outcome at the end of the day. And I'm going to be flexible about it, whatever gets me there, bro. Right? Before, at a younger age, it was about even the process part of it has to be according to me. You feel me? It's like it has to be my way. It has to be done my way.
Right.
I feel it has to be done the outcome way. Does that make sense, Naman? It's not about
Yeah,
how I like to do it. It's about
yeah,
how the outcome
eh,
wants to be done.
that's exactly what I mean. That is exactly what I mean. And sort of like figuring that out also, I should point out here, Ali, what you said about like,
Mm-hmm.
what the outcome is demanding, because that's what it is, right? Like the outcome wants something to get to, to create that outcome. Like it's asking for something, and you have to feed it that. It's like, this is where I also figured out asking the right questions
Mm-hmm.
about, like, how do I give this? Like, I'm just trying to think of an example, because my project is a work in progress. I kind of don't want to talk about it too much, but it was such a big epiphany for me, because I'm so close to the finish line now that it's actually kept me up where I've been thinking this question for so long. So when I started working on this project, right, like, Ali, you know how we have this sort of like idea in our heads, what the project is going to be, right? Like, and we talk about perfection, like how perfection pushes you to add more things, perfection pushes you to make sure everything is, supposed to be a certain way and whatnot. In essence, my thoughts might be a little sort of like fractured here and there, but Ali, what I'm trying to say is I shifted my entire, like, everything that I know about this project changed when I asked myself the question that, as I'm doing this right now, what exactly do I want to focus on, right? Am I
Mm-hmm.
focusing on the vision that is in my head, or am I focusing on what this version that I'm creating for this project can get me? Right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
vision that I have in my head probably demands a team of like 1,000 people, right? It
Mm-hmm.
probably demands like unlimited resources. That vision cannot be accomplished by one person. That's a vision that requires, like, awful stuff. Like, I'm just trying to create an example,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I asked myself this question that, what can this outcome that I can do with my own hands right now, what can it get me, bro? And when I asked myself that question, all my troubles and my concerns kind of like, just, it's like I was wearing body weights and they just dropped, right? And what happened very interestingly is that my belief in the, as we talked about, the actions, the rituals, the systems, and the processes, it became even stronger because I felt that they aligned way more with the outcome, with the realistic outcome that, I believe in right now. Do you see how I have envisioned this now? Do you see how I'm like sort of like seeing this, connecting this in action?
Yeah, I think it brings us just as you were saying that you were agreeing with the part of that uh, what is the requirement of that thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
What's the what it like? So if and I know that this might be a personal project for you and you're not going to name it, but I feel that like other than just putting in a genre and putting in a category, and giving it a name, you have spoken kind of in depth about it. That that your expectations of it, right, were not like the expectation of the outcome was not aligned with the process that
Yes.
or the right was not aligned with the process, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So it's and this is I think this is what we do to ourselves a lot of the times. a lot of the times we do this to ourselves, right? That we put such high, like unrealistic goals sometimes, right? That and we were talking about this with, like, even with the trading journey, right? Such unrealistic expectations, right? I'm gonna come trade, make the millions, and go away,
Oh yeah, man.
right?
Yeah,
So,
the ego and the overconfidence, 100%,
right,
bro.
and then you see what my pocket is, what my investment is, how often I have money, and if I don't have money, what is my threshold, what is my personality? Is it just so many factors come in play, and then you get a realistic approach of, okay, this is, I example, I can expect a few thousand right now. And for me to go to the next one, it requires this of me. So better, and I want that, right? So I better start doing this, right? In order to get there. And then once you reach there, so it's, I think, even with the way you say, I think your end goal could very well be the initial goal that you had, right? But now you understand that the process for that one might be longer, and there are way more steps before that process before that process starts. There are more steps
Right.
that you might be skipping, right? Which need to be done. You need to go from uh, you need to go from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. It cannot just be, man, I'm starting from level 50. It does not work. It does not work that way, right? Even for a team, even if one was to get a team, you always get the one member of the team first, then the second. It's not that you get the team one go, right? Like, hey, I hired everybody today, and everything is everything is going. Nothing works this way, right? So these expectations behind, like, correcting beliefs, like, again, anything and everything is possible. It is possible, truly. I really, really believe that. Even the goal, even the like unrealistic goal you might have set for that time and that point in time is is realistic if given the right time, right effort, and the right environment, right? You haven't thought
Right.
of something that is out of this world in that sense. It's within the containment of, of the world. It's just that in that time, with that resources, with that timeline, it might not be possible. But if you were to extend the timeline, extend the knowledge, extend the, give it the space that it needs to do its thing, then it becomes viable again,
You're
right?
right. Yeah, and that's exactly how I, sort of like saw my project right now. Like the vision that I have, like I know it's doable, but where I am standing right now with the bag that I have, with the, the skills and the resources that are available to me, yeah, not possible. Like that's just trying to, say like, I'm gonna race in Formula One, but I'm taking my two-wheeler scooter with me, right? Like
Yeah, right.
sure, yeah, you can believe in it as much as you want. You can believe in your little Honda bike as much as you want. Like, it's not beating a Formula One car, right? Like, that's just the wrong tool for the
True.
job.
True.
So, so I should, also like sort of talk about another thing with belief that I tend to, um, y- ponder over a lot. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking about this, and maybe you do as well. So we actually touched upon it earlier when we talked about like how most of our beliefs have been formed in, the last few years, as we sort of discussed. And I shared that sentiment with you that been cultivating these beliefs the last a few years. What have you found, in your opinion, the kind of impact it has had on you when you look back right now on your beliefs, or like when you look back on yourself as a person? And like, do you tell yourself like, well, look at the weird things I have, believed in? Or like, do you look back and ask yourself like, why did I believe in this? Like, what was the thinking behind this? Right? What was the attraction? Just sort of curious.
I have been very selective of this thought, actually. Uh, I, and I think I have kind of mentioned this thing to you before a little bit, that I look, there is there has there's not even a single thing in my life that I wanted or believed in and have put work behind it and have not achieved it. Like, and when I say this, I mean it very literally. And understand the sequence of things that I'm saying it in that. if I believed it, and if I put the effort and the work and the time given it the time, it has always and always and always materialized for me. This is one thing that I know with utmost certainty. And of course, I've had other beliefs and other hopes and dreams too. But I know that I have looked back and I've seen that I did not pursue them. I did not give them the attention or the interest or the time or the effort. Every single thing that I gave the effort to, I was able to I was able to make it happen. And that goes from going to the university that I wanted to end up with, going getting every step of it, every single step of it, everything that I believe that I should like, or the thing that I wanted, or the thing that I have put the work behind. So that kind of puts me in a place where I'm like, Ali, things are very simple. Don't make them complicated. If you believe that if you want something, first believe that you can do it. Believe that it can be done. And the sole reason that the thought has come to you, right? The sole reason that like you have thought of it, that already is a big signal in my mind that, Ali, this can be done. Now the thing is, do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? Because it's very simple. If I want to do it, and if I get on the journey, it will get done. But understand all the things that will come on the way. It's going to take a lot of, it will involve a lot of hard work. It will involve a lot of discipline, a lot of setbacks, a lot of corrections, a lot of emotions. And if I'm ready for that, then I know, then I know the end result. I know I'm going to be sitting with it, and I'm going to be sitting very close by it. One of the things are going to happen. So
Right.
how much do you want it, Adi? It's
Right.
it's 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 literally a question of that. How, like, and I'm not saying that, and again, being realistic with it a little bit, right? Not saying that today I want to pursue something that requires 80 years, because my lifespan is not as such, right? So having a realistic expectation behind it too, that okay, if this is something that I want, then I know the process of belief. Because, like, honestly, now that I say it, I really figure that the word process and kind of belief go together, no man. Like, belief is a process. It's not just a standalone word by itself. Like,
It is a
uh,
process. Yeah.
all, so I understand the process of belief, what it requires of me, right? Uh, and if I'm ready to do it, then I'm very certain that that it will be done, or something good will come out of it, and I will benefit from it. There's no way that I don't benefit from pursuing something that I really wanted to pursue. Of course, you learn, you live, and things like that happen. But I'm very sure that something good will, and this is also a belief, right? That, hey, something good will come out of it. I know it, right? Even if it's not at a material level, it might be at a soul level. It may be at a heart level, at a mind level, right? But I'm very sure something good will come out of it. But if what is required of me, or if I don't do it, right? Then how I'm feeling about it. Because regret is a very difficult pill to swallow, Numan. A very difficult one, to be honest.
Right.
Especially if, right, like, tried and failed is one thing, but never tried is a very the what if life is a very difficult life to live, honestly. And I think, and sometimes I do play this game with me. I don't know what the word is. It's called presentism, I believe. Presentism, that I try to live, that I try
No.
to not, right? Yeah, I try to not just do it now, but I also try to see it early in the future, right? Would he, like, how would he, at that time, am I making excuses? Why didn't I pursue it at this age, right? Am I, I like, or what would sound better, that, hey, I tried, I failed, or I never tried? And if somebody's asking me, bro, why didn't you ever try it? What am I saying at that time, right? Am I making excuses at that time and looking back and just go like, maybe I could have, right? So sorry, I digress a bit, but again, uh, just this, the process of belief. I think I've understood a little bit more than what I understood before. It's not just asking for something and just going to bed. It's asking for something and getting out of bed. If that makes sense.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah, no, don't worry about the digression. I think like
Mm.
you added a lot of color to what we're talking about. So one of the things, Ali, also that comes to mind when you were talking about this, I was thinking about it where, being realistic with your beliefs. I think you said
Mm.
something along the lines of like,
Yeah.
being realistic. That is something I practice a lot right now because it's easy to believe in something. Like it costs nothing to believe in something, right? Like you can sit down right now and make a belief and be like, yeah, I believe in it. It's easy to say that. But
Mm.
to actually put some weight behind it, to actually put some muscle, sweat, knowledge behind it, some experience and skill behind it, that takes effort. So I question myself whenever like I see myself forming a new belief that, a belief has to be maintained. Like it doesn't just exist, right? Like it's not something that sits passively in the corner. Like it has to be actively maintained. Like it's a ritual within itself.
For
And
sure, for sure.
ever since I've had this realization that believing isn't enough, maintaining ensures that that the desired outcome is ever closer to you. I have become more selective with what I do, right? Like I don't find myself committing to projects just because they sound exciting, just because they sound like they might be fun to do, right? I always ask myself, do I believe in the systems and processes that I will create that will help it, achieve the desired outcome? And am I willing to like do that every day for, let's say, it's the next 6 months or 3 months or whatever. And then
Mm.
if I don't get an answer that I'm happy with, I tell myself like, I'm gonna do this for no reason now. Like I'm just adding another project to the list. I'm gonna waste a couple of hours today, maybe a couple of hours next week, and then 6 months from now, it would have gone nowhere, right? And by doing this, this selectiveness that I have cultivated now, it's it's really reduced the amount of stress that hovers over me. One way I want to put this to you, and I know, Ali, we talked about this like a really, really long time ago. I think almost like been a year and a half since we first talked about it. But I was thinking about this conversation too because there was this period where we talked about like how, when you're sort of like sitting idle and you have nothing to do,
Mhm.
and there's no reason to be doing something, or there's no reason like you should be working, or uh, what's the word I'm trying to use, be productive. Like you understand
Mhm.
what I'm getting at, right?
For sure.
Be productive. Like I used to have this problem where I believed that if I wasn't productive enough during the day, or I wasn't productive at all times of the day, that I'm not going to succeed in life, right? So I
Mhm.
had created this sort of like a relationship in my head that being productive keeps me away from not being successful, but it doesn't guarantee me success, but it just keeps me away from not being successful because that was the bare minimum relationship that I had established.
Mhm.
And over time, I realized that this wasn't serving me. All it was doing was forcing me to do the bare minimum just to get by, because I didn't believe in that equation wholly, because all the systems and processes that were in place were just doing the bare minimum. So in this case, it would be like, your 9 to 5 or whatever you're using to get money. And then so once this whole sort of like uh, expansion happened with the concept of belief, asking the right questions, now when I'm sitting and doing nothing, right? Like just I'm literally talking like 2 hours before we connected today, I was literally sitting on my computer chair and I was not even browsing the computer. It was just there. And I was just sitting and thinking about random stuff that was coming
Mhm.
into my head. And at no point did I feel like, I'm not being productive, or I'm not being crazy, or like, I'm not going to be
Mhm.
successful, or I might end up homeless because I'm not, sort of like working. Because I had this negative belief in my head that that's what's going to happen. And now when something sort of like, because I feel like you would agree with me on this when I say that there are positive and negative beliefs, right? I, do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, yeah. 100%, 100%, of course.
right?
Yeah.
Right, like, so I had this negative belief relationship, but practicing this expansion of belief, like this cultivation of beliefs, like we discussed, it allowed me to question them. So as I said, like, when I sit down right now and this thought creeps in my head that, like, hey, you're not being productive, like you should be doing something meaningful, like, is this how you want to spend your time? And I ask myself, well, give me an outcome that I can achieve in an hour, or I can work towards in an hour. Like, give it that 1%
Mhm.
that we talked about.
Mhm.
And if my brain cannot come up with something, or I cannot assign my something, and then I tell myself that there is nothing for me to be doing but just enjoying my time right now. Like, I cannot be
Mhm.
productive like 24/7. And ever since I started practicing that, asking myself this question, dude, I am so free right now. Like, I am so, like, not stressed about anything. Like, anytime, like, I feel like I'm not doing enough, like anytime I feel like my life hasn't arrived at that vision that is in my head, right? Like, you're sitting in a mansion and you have
Mhm.
millions of dollars, and, like, there's cars parked out.
Mhm.
I ask myself this question: okay, but what did I do in service of that? Right? Like, have I
Mhm.
am I doing something in service of that? Is it in progress? Yes. Then there's nothing to be done right now, right? Like, you cannot move in that direction every step of the way. You have to be realistic as to the amount of work you can do. You have to be realistic as to the amount of, like, effort you can put into something, and how much energy you have as a person. And yeah, what is that saying? I think we had that in the first podcast: slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Mhm. Mhm.
Things are moving, my friend. Things are
Mhm.
moving at such a at such a pace. Like, it worries me now sometimes that I tell myself, like, I might have gone a little ahead of myself. There are other areas of my life that now need to catch up, and I never thought that it would be possible. I never thought it would be something that I would be capable of. But this expansion of belief, this expanded understanding of how this thing works and how you can leverage it, changes how you live life entirely. Like, completely how you live life
Mhm.
entirely. And even just talking to you right now, like, as I'm having this conversation, right? Uh, I constantly think about, like, this podcast that we do. My biggest belief from this podcast is what I am gonna learn from all of this as I go along, right? Like, what
Mhm.
questions am I gonna answer? Like, what challenges am I gonna face? What beliefs are gonna be
Mhm.
questioned? Because I am gonna say something to you, and you're gonna be like, "Yo, what did you just say?" Like, why did you
Mhm.
say that? Right? So I see, like, belief is this sort of, like, extremely expansive part of your foundation, right? And but it is one of those things that can be rebuilt if it's not built the right way. Like, do you agree with me on that part?
I, I, I'm, first off, I agree on that part, Naman. Definitely. It's this understanding of belief really changes the whole, just changes the whole perspective. It
Right.
does calm you, right? Like, and when you were saying this, I was just thinking this is something that, uh, through this NLP stuff that I've learned a bit is that you can really assess, you can really assess success and what it means and how and what were the good actions behind it. Okay. And I'm just going to put this in an example, right? Uh, I'm very sure that in your academic career, there were kids or students, sorry, there were students uh, were who participated in every other outside active, who participated in all the activities outside of school, right? Yet got amazing grades,
Right. 100%. Yeah, there were.
right? And then, and I know you and I know myself, so I'm just gonna be a bit blunt about it. And then there was us, okay? that we believed that we could
Yes.
pass that we could pass this course, no issue whatsoever, right? Uh, but we always cramped stuff towards the end. Hey, I cannot come out here. I cannot go there. I have to do this. I have to do mismanagement of stuff completely, right? for them, success was so smooth in a way. Okay. They devoted 1 hour a day to their study time for the entire semester for that particular subject. And they were prepared when the exam time came, and they did well while attending to all the outside stuff, all the parties, all the friends engagements and everything, all the social stuff, right? Whereas us, we did the first 3 months of whatever we wanted to do, right? And the last month, just miserable. We got it done, but miserable, right? Those Red Bull nights, those all night awake, those you know those nights, Numan, right? Like the ones where you just like, man, 1 minute before the time deadline, you're still
Yeah,
finishing the last
working on an
paragraph, right?
essay or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and to a point that now your body's trembling, right? Because you're so late and so last moment kind of. Right? You're like, oh my god, nah, enter, send. Oh man, I sent it 1 minute before and feeling glad about it. So the point being that belief in everything is there. The concept of that success has a process. If you learn those processes, right? And you can learn it by yourself. You can learn it by analyzing different people. You can learn it by interviewing different people, learning how they got successful, what was their mindset, what was their schedule, what was their time dedication, their discipline, their organization. And if you were to mimic or follow that, right, then there's a higher probability of easier success. Let's say, let me put it this way, right? Like easier approach to the destination rather than just like, oh,
Right.
I right. So, and this only comes by analyzing life, how, of how things, because being smart was never an issue, Numan. Blessed, right? I say this not to brag or so, but as a blessing, right?
Yeah.
Having an understanding of the subject or so was never the issue. Actually, that played to the contrary as a negative effect on us. That we were like, man, we know we can do this, right? But we never understood what's the best way to do it. We just crammed everything towards the end. And now that I look back, I'm like, I could have done this in such like, and as you say right now, right? That once you do the process that needs to be done in a nice way, then you have free time. And then when you have free time, you're like, oh, I have free time because I did everything properly, precisely with discipline. So now I get to enjoy this free time, right? Or else before, and I'm again going to go back to the school time. Even though we were enjoying the first 3 months, back of our mind, we were always stressed out that we're not doing our part, right? Even fun was, even fun was backed by a little bit stress that, man, I know I should be studying, right? Uh,
Right.
but
Yeah.
but I'm out here. Oh
Yeah.
well,
Wasting.
one
Yeah,
more.
I know.
Yeah, I think I just have to, right? So just this understanding of like belief without the proper process and stuff becomes difficult, right? So you have to kind of understand that what's the what's the way for your belief to show up, right? Or for your belief to work out, or for your belief to be smooth. Let's put it this way.
Right.
And there are and even with your conversation, I feel that there are ways to it, right? Not waking up every morning, not knowing what needs to be done is the worst way to go about
Right.
belief and success, right? Having a plan day, having a plan day really make, then you can see the progress too. And as we discussed at the start, the biggest thing about progressing in life is being able to correct what was done. Is consciously making changes. When
Right.
things are haphazard, you don't even know where to make the changes because everything is being done at once, right? You don't know what to change, right?
Hmm.
I fixed the entire car one day, and then I turned it on,
Right.
right? I don't know what part is working, what part, if I would have done it progressively, I knew that what worked at what point in time, so I could correct that at that point in
Yeah.
time and then move forward, right? So it's just these small understandings of things makes life so simple, right? And then kind of gives you a mental peace as well, that I know if I do this properly, it would be done. I just need to do it properly, bro. That's all.
Right.
And what do I need to do it tomorrow if you are stuck with it? And if you are like if things have piled up, there's only one way actually. to start doing it the proper way. Make a plan, jot it down, uh, strategize it, right? And then within a few weeks or within the first week or within a few days, you will feel, oh, things are back on track, right? Just as simple as that. So again, I hope this is not a digression, but this is just saying that belief does require attention to small details and things like that. It's not just thrown up in the air with hands up in the air, go like, I believe. It's not. It's not. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
just like that, right?
it's definitely not. So like, I agree with your aspect of belief, right?
Mhm.
And I think like this is perfectly or this is a good way to like segue into a part of the conversation that I think is also worth having. Because the way we've approached belief right now, right, we've approached it from a very systematic way, right? We've talked about
Mhm.
processes, we've talked about like, adjusting as we go along. Maybe like let's, discuss the emotional impact that a belief has, right? Because I feel like a belief is something that is very emotional too, right? Like in the sense that how it impacts your behavior, how it impacts, your judgment, your perception of the world, right? It can have an immense impact. I'll give you an example, and then you can tell me sort of what you take away from this one.
Mhm.
And I know I mentioned this story to you before once about creating my own belief,
Mhm.
and I wanted to see what happens. It took me 6 months. I like it. It was something like I am so obsessed about the idea of what a belief is,
Mhm.
and how like I can. I'm not talking about mastering it, but how like I can immerse myself so well into any belief that I can ask ask the right questions, that I can sort of like position myself appropriately where I need to be. But coming back to this emotional aspect, or what I want to tell you is that I created a belief system where I had this idea very quickly. I won't go into much details, but I did it for 6 months, where every time I saw numbers as triplets, so like let's say 111, 222, 333, I considered it like some form of like divine blessing, that my day is going to be good. And I did this because I thought, it introduced a random sort of like variable into the whole belief process where I wasn't in control. I had to, like, these numbers had to appear somewhere, right, for me to like affirm my belief that now something good is going to happen. So every time I saw it, I was like, yes, it's going to be a good day. And I studied this thing inside out, man. Like I studied everything about it. I noted down how my facial expressions changed, my reactions, my emotions, how I felt about the day after seeing it, or how often I even tracked how often I saw these numbers. And in a way, I did this for 6 months, and I noticed that as the frequency of these numbers increased, because my pattern recognition started to improve considerably. See, this is the thing about beliefs. Like once you start immersing yourself in the belief, like it kind of almost feels like reality is adapting to you. I started to see triplets everywhere. License plates. I've never seen so many license plates were triplets. Like, I've seen so many 333s and 777s. It's insane. I've seen these. You see it in addresses. You see it in random numbers on the streets. It's like your brain is now actively looking for this one, because it knows that attached to this is the belief that the day is going to be good, that I am going to have, good blessings, or whatever you wanna, however you wanna phrase it. It is an experiment after all, and it really absorbed me quite intensely. Like it really did. And Ali, you're not gonna believe this, bro. Like I had become so good at finding triplets that I I don't know if I somehow conditioned my brain that a clock has what, five chances where you're gonna see triplets, like 111, two two
Mhm.
two, 555, right? I am like, I can catch 222, 333, 444, like almost every single day. Like it's like my brain knows, like, look at the clock right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be 222. And I've never caught myself doing this. And, I did this for 6 months and I noted this down in my journal. And I'm like, why does this keep happening? The pattern recognition had just like turned to like, 1,000%. Like it was like on steroids. And it made me feel so good. Like, I was like, yo, maybe like, you start believing things that are also not true. And I made notes of these. So I had become so confident that my belief like actually meant something, because this
Mm-hmm.
is what happens, right? It has no assigned value. Remember that, like the
True,
value
true,
isn't there. I
true.
created everything myself.
As you
I
started with it, I was kind of thinking, I was like, okay, that point I'm
right,
going to remember, but I'm glad you mentioned. Okay.
right, but like I got so deep into this that like when a day would come where I did not see a triplet, and there were days, mind you, right, where I didn't see it, the impact that it had on me, I would put it ex- uh, exactly in line with the impact that, let's say, a big project you worked on or a venture that you've launched and it just doesn't work out, it fails miserably. You get the bad news like, yo, this is not going anywhere, and you're like defeated, you are like broken, you're like, how did
Mm-hmm.
this not
Mm-hmm.
work? It had that same level, like the emotionally, like that's how it impacted me. And I noticed that nothing for for those particular days, nothing like bad happened, so to speak. The only bad thing that happened that affected me was that I did not see these numbers. That's how strong my self-created belief had become. And when I finished this experiment, that's when I realized, like, this thing is an extremely powerful tool if I was to understand it and leverage it properly. Because you can use this not just for like motivating yourself to doing what needs to be done, but to creating, as we discussed, the right systems and processes that are malleable, that are adjustable to achieve that desired sort of outcome. And I don't know what you take away from my little story, but I
Mm-hmm.
just I just wanted to, like, it was an intense experiment. I recorded one thing I should tell you before I hear your thoughts on this one. You might
Mm-hmm.
like this. Um, I was using an Excel sheet to track the numbers, like, how many times I saw 111, 222, 333. And I did this for 6 months. So each month basically has a tally of, like, which numbers appeared most frequently. And when in the first, I think, 2 or 3 months, the numbers like 7, 8, or 9, because they're very hard to find. They weren't appearing more frequently. In the last, I would say, like 2 months, they were all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like the frequency went up so high. So when I took this data and I fed it to ChatGPT, it
Mm-hmm.
specifically asked me if I fabricated the data for the last 2 months. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, bro, this is exactly what happened. And then it asked me such an important question. Like, it was like, are you sure it's exactly what happened or as you remember it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And like it made me question. I was like, no, I know I saw sevens and eights and nines, like they were all over the place. I recorded it. I immediately wrote it down on my phone that it was an address or it was a number plate. And it was like the shift in the data was so abrupt in 6 months that even a tool that is designed to analyze it was like, nah, no, this can't be real. This is fabricated
Mm-hmm.
nonsense. Like he's making this up. And it took me by surprise, and that's where it convinced me like how powerful belief can be. Like it can literally break someone else's reality, like it should not even be possible, but somehow it was. That is, as long as we accept that, I recorded the data faithfully, right? Which I believe I did. Like, I know I've done research for many years, but like I know I could still record data faithfully, so I have faith in my data recording skills. But it still bothers me when I think about it, like how that certain beliefs can actually break another person's reality. In this case, like a supercomputer's reality. Not that it's a flex, by the
Mhm.
way.
No, no, no. This is, and I think this is the point. Like your story, this experiment or this story kind of brings, like, really confirms. And I'm sorry not try to make it sound that way, but really confirms some theories in my mind that this idea of belief is really is really what dictates the experience of your life. To be very honest with you, right? And
It
you
does, yeah.
see that, right? Like, so. I like as you started after you said the first, as soon as you explained it, I think the first question that came to me at that time, and you kind of answered it, was that what happens if you what happens when you don't see the numbers, right? And you kind of and you spoke about that, right? That when you didn't see the numbers, it felt disastrous in that sense, right? It didn't feel good anymore. It felt as if something wasn't right or something fell away, or like because that's what you said, right? Remember the days the numbers didn't show up, right? It was the day when things didn't feel
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
This like this so this just makes me ask what, and this is not to challenge this experiment, but just to kind of know your thinking behind it so that we can differentiate between the two. What would you say then the difference between like a superstition and a belief is? Curious.
See, that's a very, yeah, okay. You're gonna love this one,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Superstition and a belief, because I have asked myself this question,
Mm-hmm.
and I will give you a classic superstition that I have dealt
Mm-hmm.
with, okay? That I still continue to sometimes deal with, even though I know like it's fucking bullshit. But
Mm-hmm.
you know the belief story that I told you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you the superstition one. So I have had this superstition for a very long time now, where if my left eye twitches, I feel like either I'm gonna do something bad, like something I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be doing, something I said I'm not gonna do, or something bad is gonna happen. So every time my left eye is twitched, like I get anxious and I get nervous. And I've always considered this a superstition that I have. But at the same time, when my right eye twitches, I'm like, yo, some good stuff is gonna happen. I've just made this superstition sort of on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I'd throw it out there because you asked what a superstition is to me. That's what a superstition is.
So okay, okay. So with everything being said, it feels like superstition always starts from something external.
What do you mean by external? Like
Like
when you say
if,
external?
even this like even this frequency recognition part, right? Like the effect, or like the cycle is external affecting the internal, right? Like something on the outside happens first that affects the inside, right? You see the number, it does something to you. Like you see something externally that has an effect to you
Right.
internally. The eye
Right.
twitches first, something external happens, and then you feel a way about it,
Yeah. Okay.
right? Right. So when we started this conversation, we kind of spoke about the opposite, the internal being expressed external. Like in my mind, I'm trying to answer my own question about the superstition and belief thing. When I asked you, I kind of asked myself too. I was like, man, I've asked him, but what do I, how do I differentiate this in my mind, right?
Right.
So I'm just
Right.
trying to think that like considering the 2 points, that of course there could be many and it could be looked at a different way, but just from these couple of points, I feel that it's the external giving birth to the internal. The same superstitions that meant like how in my household they would say, don't run empty scissors. Fights happen in the house. Okay. So I sometimes see myself the urge to stop somebody from running scissors empty, without cutting, just
Right.
running, and I have the urge to stop them, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, hey, don't seriously, you're gonna this is what you're gonna ask them to do, and if they ask you why, what are you gonna say? Because fights happen at home. That's what
Right.
like, bro,
Right.
seriously, then it becomes like then you laugh about it in that sense, right? Like you're like, oh man, seriously, it's funny what things had been fed to me in that sense. And of course, there were reasons there were reasons why they were told me when I was young. They just didn't want me to run scissors empty in the house, kind of, right, in that sense. But so I feel it's always external. Whereas belief, I feel it's the internal going to the external. Even when you see, like, as we said, even when you see that failure, or even when you see your belief challenged, internally, you know, you still have that feeling that, hey, uh, I'm still going to challenge this, or I'm still going to pursue this because I really believe, right, that this can still work, or this can work. It's just a matter of like with the numbers game, there was nothing in your control, right, Oman, other than your pattern recognition part, that how much your mind is picking up on those numbers. And sometimes the frequency would be more, sometimes the
Yeah.
frequency will be less, depending on how much. depending on how many hours you were outside, how many hours
Pretty
were you,
much.
right? Like it depends. So many
Yeah,
factors,
just completely random. Like, yeah,
completely random, right?
basically it's random.
So like it didn't have like in my mind, I'm thinking that it didn't have the like it didn't have the aspect of that control. Kind of, it was completely at random. Whereas belief does have an aspect of control, a system, a strategy in that sense. Right? Like it's like you do things without seeing it. You start doing stuff whereas whereas the number experiment sounds like a trigger. If this trigger comes, I'm going to feel this way. Or if this trigger comes, I have to start always waiting for that sign, like waiting for that sign. And I think even in belief, people do that, waiting for the sign, right? Waiting for things to be a certain way before you act. And I feel that has also, like, just going a little bit personal with this one, I feel that has been a bit of a uh, things that have held me back sometimes too. That waiting for certain things to show up before I start a journey or I start a thing. You know, like, okay, this needs to align, that needs to align, that needs to align, and this needs to be this way. And I didn't even know that it could all be random, right? Example, you saying that, man, if I see 333 today, that means I'm gonna start doing this thing today. That would be a good sign, right? But it could completely be random. But again, at the same time, now that I'm saying this, I'm like, if it makes him do it, then what's wrong with it, right? Like if even if the randomness makes it happen for him, but at the same time,
Right.
as I say this now, then I'm thinking that, but what if it's the opposite? What if it needs to be done today, but that number never comes up? It just,
Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
that's the thing.
Hmm.
It's a very interesting take on this one too.
Hmm.
You have, and I agree with you because my takeaway after I finished this experiment, right? Because then I abruptly stopped. I
Hmm.
decided like, okay, in October I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. It's done, right?
Hmm.
Like now we can assess the impact of the withdrawal that happens, like not reacting to it. That's a whole different ball game. But my takeaway from this in the end was that, you know. When I first started this experiment, I didn't believe in that good things will happen as much as I believed towards the end of it, right? Like
Hmm.
my belief had grown considerably. I think my takeaway was that beliefs can be self created to serve you. They can be self created to get you the outcome you want, but you have to see them differently. Like as we
Hmm.
discussed, like it has to be a system of actions, rituals, processes, whatever you want to call it, right? Like that adjust over time. And that's how I started to see it. Because the thing was that one thing that I sort of like also understood during this experiment was when I felt good, right? Like when we discussed me seeing the number, when I felt good, I had this sudden urge or this motivation to do things to improve my life,
Hmm.
right? Because I was convinced that life is becoming good. Like I wanted to make my life better, right? I
Hmm.
started to work for an outcome that I have always believed in. Like, who doesn't want to make their life better, right? Like,
Hmm.
it's something you never stop believing in. Like, it's always something I've always believed in this outcome that I am going to make my life better one day, whatever that better is, right? Better than yesterday,
Hmm.
better than the day before. And I am grateful because every year my life has become better, right? And it's with this whole belief thing, like when I did this experiment and I came to this idea that I want to make my life better on my own. I started doing the right things rather than looking at it as looking at all of this as a whole. I started seeing this as the sum of its parts, right? So I became detail oriented. And when I say parts, like Ali, I'm trying to be a little more, maybe I'm being a little I forget the word where you try to say one thing, but it actually, whatever it is, but what I'm trying to, metaphorical. That's the
Okay,
word.
okay.
That's the word. What I'm trying to say here is that I became detail oriented to the point where I started to question the processes and the steps that I had to get to that outcome, right? And that only happened because I felt so good about it. It made me ask, can I do it better? Can I do it faster? Can I do it smarter? Can I do it with less effort? Can I do it, more effectively? Whatever it was, because that's the thing that happens with belief. Like, if it's positioned right, if it sits right within you, if you understand it right, if you accept that, it's not about just wholesale acceptance and then just waiting to, like, you've got a ticket number and now, they're just waiting to call your number, right? It's not like that. It has a remarkable impact, and that's what it did to me, right? And that's exactly how I came out of it, where I start to question the steps. I start to question, everything that happens in my life. Is this belief oriented? Is this just a random occurrence? Is it me just being me, sort of thing? I don't know if I digressed here a bit, like, or what point I was trying to make, but
I know that's
it's
I do comprehend you. To be honest with you, it's not that you digress too far off. It's still on point. It's I just feel that it's belief is, how should I? I'm trying to look for the now I'm trying to look for the word for it. Like this idea about self-created beliefs, right? With that's kind of what you did, right? The self-creation of a certain type of belief. I do strongly believe that
right.
beliefs are they are chosen. Like you choose them, you train them. It's not like you have to, for a certain action or a certain goal or a certain thing that you want to achieve, a certain type of belief is required for it, and you have to choose that belief. You have to do you see what I'm trying to say? Like you cannot ask for something and have the
I
opposite belief of that. You have to consciously go like, okay, for this thing, I have to believe in this thing or this way. Or do you see my point one little bit there?
I see your point. I think, Ali, the better way to answer this
Mm.
question would be to talk about, like, talk about it in a different sense. So again, fractured thoughts. So see if you can pick it up here or not. Maybe let's shift the whole conversation about beliefs to something a little different. Let's maybe talk about it from a personal perspective, right? Like, and let's use an example. You know how there's how there's many faceless YouTube channels right now, right?
Mhm.
And they've become all popular. And one of the reasons why there's so many faceless channels out there is because people are insecure about the way they look, right?
Mhm.
Because they don't believe that, that they have a face that is presentable enough, or that they're
Mhm.
good looking enough for camera, right? Like, how do you get this person to change that belief about themselves?
Mhm.
Because okay. Maybe first I should ask you this: would you first agree that the opinions that we have about ourselves, that the things that we cannot do, the limitations we place on ourselves, are they beliefs in your mind or not?
Yes.
Right? So now that we've established that they're beliefs, would you agree that, because you said that, we get to choose our beliefs, right? Like, we can
Mhm.
choose our beliefs,
Mhm.
right? Like, sometimes some beliefs are instilled in us, maybe as, as we grow, or sometimes they're forced onto us, right? Some negative beliefs or whatnot.
Mhm.
So the reason why I want to focus on the negative is because I think we can extract some really good sort of like answers from this one. And one of that is, how do you help a person change negative beliefs about themselves, that, let's say, they cannot do something, or that their voice is not good enough to, make a YouTube video, or their face is not good enough to be on camera. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's try and address that. Like, how do you see that? Let's just talk about this for 5 minutes.
To a person thinking this way about, like, of course, then he, as we kind of established, that that person does have some certain beliefs about himself, right? And certain fears about himself, right? Certain fears, certain beliefs about the world, right? And certain beliefs about himself, right? It could either be that he like either he either he perceives himself this way and he's scared that people would not see him that way, right? Or he perceives himself bad, and he perceives that people will also see that bad. There are two sides to it, kind of, right? Like whatever the
Right.
person's belief is, the only way in my mind, and just this is just top of my head, the only way for that person uh to be on camera, because now we're talking about we're now more talking about in lines of overcoming your fears, right? Overcoming your fear of something in a way, right? Like, because that belief is causing that fear, right? That,
Yeah.
hey, people are gonna say shit. I'm not gonna look good. Uh, uh, I don't know. There could be so many. There just could be million, like so many factors of it.
Right.
One way that because initially when even with this podcast and stuff, putting our voices out there, right? The very first thought was that, hey, man, people are gonna judge, right? Sounds, actions, speeds, terminologies, thinking, thoughts. There's going to be so much judgment. But it's funny that I just don't have an exact answer for it. But it's just so funny that sometimes you come across, uh, sometimes you prepare for things not knowing exactly what you're preparing for, but in a way you are, right? Like for me, reading that book, The Art of War, right? The art of war, right? In which he's talking
Are,
about
are you talking about the Chinese art of war or the war of art?
sorry, I'm so sorry, the war of art,
The war of
the one about the North Star, the
the
anything
North Star, yeah.
the North Star, right? So um for me, my and again, it's a change in belief, okay? That, hey, if I'm feeling that this is too tough for me to do, then that's the very first thing I need to do. And it doesn't and that has taken away all these other ideas of what people are going to think, all the other external thing, all the external things have gone, just because now it's become very internal for me. It's an internal challenge. It's nothing to do with the external anymore, nothing to do with the external. And this kind of puts me back to your example, that the belief thing is the internal comes first, right? Because I cannot change the world. All I can do is change myself. I cannot change the comments. I cannot help what people see me, what they think about me, what they might comment about me, how they might look at me. What I have no control of that whatsoever. The only thing that I know that, hey, I'm scared doing this. That means this is the very first thing I have to do, because the thing that I'm resisting the most is where my growth is. I believe in this, and I say it very strongly. I believe in this. Therefore, I have to record myself and put myself out there. And after that, it's only smooth after that. So it was the internal belief. Nothing, nobody could have told me anything that, Ali, don't worry about what people say, because of course I worried. Oh, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, because these were the first statements. These are the first few statements that I was getting. Who cares, right? I care, right? Like, who cares really how it comes across? No, no, no.
Yeah.
It is the internet. There's so much other stuff out there. Nobody's just there sitting, looking, critiquing. It's not about them. It was never about them. It was about me. It was always about me. It was never ever about them. It was not that how how what if one of my friends find me on YouTube, what are they going to think about me? It was never about that. If one of my exes see me that I'm doing this stuff and talking about these things, how are they gonna feel about me? It was never about that. It was never about if my parents listen to what the things that I'm talking about. It was never about that. It was all about me, to be honest with you. It was all about something internal. And as soon as I understood this part, that Ali challenges our growth, this is the first thing I need to do about. This is the very first thing. Like, don't even overthink this. Record, put it out there. Take the like the band-aid theory, right? Just kind of take it off, get it done, because this is what needs to be done, bro. You want to grow, right? Like, this was my actually, I'm telling you I'm telling the conversation with myself. I'm like, Ali, you want to grow, right? Answer was yes, and I was like, then that's it. Then that is it, bro. Nothing else matters. Face your fear. You're getting scared. Good. Face it. This is who you are. This is what you do, bro. You are like, this is who you are. You think of something, you get scared of something, and then you do it. And this is how you know yourself. This is your identity now. In that sense, you do these things, bro. And so again, sorry, just going back, but I took this example personal, just because I think it is like having being even doing this podcast and having done even the Facebook channels before, right? Even though I would say it was never about my voices, so it was sometimes more about the time. But at some part of it, there was the fear of the face and the voice always. But I really, really feel that the third time that I thought about it, it took like it was the first, like, let's say I did try other ways before, right? But then the second, when the chance came again for the second time, I was like, nope, not this time. This time I'm facing it. I'm getting it done. And and I think you were right there for that moment.
I was, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember you
yeah.
telling me about this one.
You were there for that moment.
I Yeah, I know. So, see, this is the reason why I asked this one, right?
Mhm.
Like the reason why I focused on this negative is because it's something I have been also lately thinking about. So, I had an experience as well regarding
Mhm.
this, and I was just, hoping to get another perspective by
Mhm.
slightly asking you this question.
Mhm.
So what happened was, yeah, I know you know this, that I have another YouTube channel that I
Mhm.
sometimes make
Mhm.
videos on, and lately, like, I have been trying to make an effort to come back to it on a regular basis,
Mhm.
not because, like, I have some guilt inside of me that I did not put the work in, or like I should be
Mhm.
making more content or something, but it's mostly been because, like, I have been away from it, because I have found that I lack the belief, or rather the processes and systems to, let me rephrase that.
Yeah. Okay. Go
It's
ahead.
more like
Uh-huh.
it's more like I lack the belief in myself
Uh-huh.
that I can deliver what I want to deliver,
Mhm.
right? And because it's not that I have some grand vision in my head, or like
Mhm.
I'm talking about like the outcome here. I'm talking about more as Noman the person.
Mhm.
I whenever like I think about making videos on my YouTube channel, right?
Mhm.
I have this sort of like sense of fear that I cannot live up to the expectation, or I cannot, a better way of saying this is that I cannot effectively communicate what I want to communicate, because right now I feel like I lack the skills to present it in the right way, right? And Ali, I had this sort of like, and this is like a surface level explanation I'm giving
Mhm.
you, but there's a lot more other factors, like where I feel like my research is lacking, or I feel like my editing skills are lacking, or my when I present data on the screen, or
Mhm.
also the fact that I feel this a lot is that I don't put enough effort into
Mhm.
creating a coherent script. So I had all of these sort of beliefs, and I had hidden behind these beliefs, and I'd
Mhm.
stopped making videos. And it took me a while, because I'd come back every couple of months. I'd come back and I'd make a video and it'd do well, and I'd get motivated, and I'd tell myself, like, I'm doing another one. Like, this is done so well. Like, it got 1,000 views in a day.
Mhm.
What? Right? Like, people started commenting
Mhm.
and emailing, and then I don't do anything. And I realized that what I was doing was I was hiding behind one set of belief, while another set of beliefs was actually affecting me.
Mhm.
Right? I was telling myself these lies that I just told you right now, that, well, I'm not good enough, or like my research isn't good enough, or whatnot. It was mostly because I was afraid of how I'm being perceived, right? And like, what people are gonna think, like, are they gonna take me seriously when I say this? Like, am I someone people take seriously when they say, when I say something, or when I communicate something? Am I an authority on this? Like, would someone even consider me an authority on this one? And you have these sort of like nagging questions that really annoy you. Is like, well, you're a nobody, what have you accomplished? Like, why should people believe you? Right?
Mhm.
Like, why, when you talk about this issue, or when you talk about a certain problem, like, you're just a voice in a sea of a million voices. Like, what separates you? And it created this and this sort of like identity problem in my head, because I really started to believe that why would am I even speaking clearly? Like, my accent is so bad, or just how I look on camera, I'm not presentable enough. And I struggled with it, and I struggled with it, and eventually what happened was, where I asked myself this sort of like question, like, what do I believe in here more, the work I'm doing, or like how I am to be perceived, right? And I thought about this and I realized that when I think about the work that I'm doing, I do not care about how I sound, how I look, how I'm perceived. That doesn't matter to me, because just believing in the idea that the work that I'm doing is actually going to have a positive impact. And
Mhm.
I'm not talking about it changing the world completely, eliminating poverty, and everybody is singing Kumbaya. No,
Mhm.
I'm talking about like if it even helps one or two people,
Mhm.
bro, I am happy. And the minute that sort of like belief sat in my head that my mission is not to help like a billion people. If I can help one people by explaining a concept to them or opening their mind about a problem or presenting an alternative viewpoint that appeals to them, I have succeeded. And that has given me motivation to like sort of like assess my YouTube. And I've been reassessing it a lot.
Easy.
And I saw some of the content that I made as of late,
Mhm.
and I was seeing the shift, and I said to myself like, I want to go back to doing what I want, what I really really enjoyed, why I started this in the first place, right? Like what I believed in originally. And what I believed in was the topics that I was talking about, the problems that I was gonna, shed light on. And I found this motivation again. And the last video that I made, Ali,
Mhm.
that I made live, I promise you, it was the fastest turnaround I have had since I started working on YouTube. Usually, editing takes a lot of time, script writing takes a lot of time, but my focus was so heavy onto like what I wanted to communicate. I believed in what I wanted to communicate so much that I didn't care about all these other trivial details. It just flowed, it just worked. The video did well. I got 1,000 views. I
Mhm.
got at least like 60 subscribers out of it.
Mhm.
I was really really happy. And then I kind of like thought to myself like, if I stick with this sort of like shifting, reframing my belief where necessary, reframing this negative belief that I have when necessary, I can use it to my advantage. And I wanted to talk about negative beliefs slightly because of one of these reasons, where now I'm also coming back into other areas of my life that I have completely abandoned, because I completely believe that I am. What's the term that Ali, they use for someone uh, uh, who is not skilled enough to do something, like incompetent? That I
Mhm.
was incompetent at doing something, and now it's just asking the right questions. Well, okay, what can I figure out? What will I need help with? What can I learn? Right? I have such strong belief in those three questions that 90% of my problems disappear every single day.
Mhm.
It's just really a matter of reframing. I know I kind of started with one aspect, I jumped into another aspect, then kind of came back. But I really wanted to communicate like how negative beliefs can also be sort of like reframed if you recognize them. Have I said something of value here, or have I just been
No, no,
rambling?
it's, I feel you touch more on the conflicting belief part, to be honest,
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
negative belief part. I like just to shed light more on this example, and this is something for you. Like there are some things that I want to point out, but I'm not going to say it directly. I just want you to kind of figure it out with this little bit of this story. Okay, so
sure.
take it. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I want you to see it, but I want you to kind of figure it out a little bit. Okay,
All
there
right.
is having success in something, and having repeated success in something, and when the belief changes or you change. Okay, so just remember this sentence, kind of. And I'm just going to bring an example to you. Uh, I had, uh, I had I had a businesswoman where at first, and at the time of the let's say the time of the vaping business, right? The liquids and whatnot, if you remember, right? When the vaping was the
Yeah, I
new,
remember. Yeah, I remember that brand. Yeah.
for uh, a year of hard work, okay, and then a year of great success, and then a sudden, let go. Three phase, and by which these three
Yeah.
4 years are three different phases, Noman. And the
Right.
reason I say this is just kind of for you to reflect on it a little bit. First, a belief in the product completely, that it's there to help people. My identity is I want to help people. This product helps people. Making sales, talking it up, being behind the brand, making the brand from scratch, to being at one point in time, to being in, I think, over 58 or 62 cities around the globe, kind of like proper
Right.
big metropolitan cities in that sense, right?
Right.
To a point that sudden thought of sudden motivation disappearing to do it, because as time went by, the belief behind the product went away. More studies came out. I myself became a user, saw the impact that, and this is just my analysis of it, that it wasn't getting away people
Right.
from addiction. It was just giving them a new addiction. Okay, I started off with getting away people from addiction. That's what motivated me. I was like, man, gonna help,
Right.
gonna gonna change people's life. Good, they're gonna be so much healthier because I brought this product to the market, and I'm so behind this, so behind this idea. People are not gonna smoke anymore. I mean, I love it. I love this idea, right? To a point that uh, I saw what it does. Uh, that it was just from a switch from one addiction to even to a stronger addiction, actually, right? Took a couple of years to understand. Once the belief and the idea and the identity changed, couldn't do it. Really couldn't. It was every day it was slipping from my hand. Every day I could see it from a slip from my hand, but I couldn't close my grip on it just
Can I
because.
ask you?
Uh-huh.
Can I ask you just on this one because
Uh-huh.
I find this fascinating. This part
Mhm.
where you said that you couldn't do it, like it
Uh-huh.
just started slipping away from your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, if you don't mind, can you like briefly like talk about like the emotions you felt there? Like, did you feel like any Ali? I'm trying to use a word here. Like,
Uh-huh.
it might not be the right word, but it's just what's coming to my head is like, did you feel some disgust towards it?
Towards what part of it exactly?
Disgust towards like your product, like the vape juice that you were making, because you said it was slipping away from your hands. You weren't motivated to do it. You didn't you like you're in the third phase now, right? Like, did you feel like hate or like negativity towards that product, like is what I'm trying to figure out, like that.
No, I never felt disgust or that, just because I was surrounded with so many people in the same world, right? I just felt this at a very personal level that, hey, Ali, it people, because people like some people could still justify it for themselves, right? That, hey, Ali, there's still good in it, Ali, right? Uh, I couldn't see it anymore. It was a very personal thing. I was like, no, man, I feel uh like so the point at the point when it was slipping away, right? It was a big conflict in me. There was the greed in me because money was involved, right?
Right.
It was before, my customer service was top notch, top notch. It was almost as if I was slow poisoning my own product. I was slow poisoning my own company over time. It took a year to slow poison and get out of it, kind of. But I did see that I started doing that very unconsciously. I started kind of, you know, uh, my customer service wasn't the same. My deliveries, my urge to get sales wasn't the same. My refilling wasn't the same. My getting new clients wasn't the same. My negotiation wasn't the same. Me trying to get orders wasn't the same. People trying to give me orders and me trying to deliver wasn't the same. Everything from me, I saw that it was just because I started like, and I look, of course, you look back at things and you try to learn what happened, what not happened, how it was, what it was, why early, why not, this and that,
Right.
right? So I could really see it that, man, because no man, the first year when I was standing and selling that product in random shops and stuff behind the counter to make it big, to make it happen, my passion for it, based on the idea that you can quit cigarettes, was eliminated, or was so strong. It was hard not to give me sales. It was hard not to have a conversation with me. I was so pumped. It was say honestly, sales came so easy. I'll be honest with you. the motivation to stand behind the counter, even meeting new people, going new places. It was so easy to do because my belief was so strong about what I was doing was so right. It was so easy to do until that belief changed through evidences that came about, and when I learned more about myself, the product, life, the so many things, it changed completely. It changed completely. So, but the product never changed. The product only got better. The delivery of the product got better. The gadgets got better. The formulations got better. The raw materials got better. It only got better. But just the idea of it, I think maybe it was like, as I said, that I understood that it wasn't just getting them away from. It wasn't freeing them. It was just giving them new chains. To be honest with you, right? It wasn't like, hey, you're not a smoker anymore. No, but you're not a smoker, but you're a vapor. You consume more vape, you consume more nicotine than before, just in a little bit of a, unsmelly this way. And now you're even more addicted to something that you were before. It was like that. And I'll be honest with you, because I was in that market, right? So it was just like these things happen sometimes, that your belief about a certain product, right, changes. And that kind of, and because we spoke about this, why, or else why would you let success go so easy, right? Before I wasn't, when sales were up and when I believed in it, I'd never stopped. Even though when I touched the 50th store, I never stopped. I was like, 50, gotta go for 52, 52, gotta go for 54, 54, gotta go for 60, right? Always upping numbers because so pumped. At one point it was, uh it's down to 48. It's down to 45. Oh, it's hurting me. It's killing me. I should do something about this. Another week goes by. It's 40. Oh, man. And then when it was all done and over with, 6 months into it, I look back. I was like, man, I feel so free. Literally feel so free that I came out of that world. It just wasn't for me anymore. Yeah, this is a very personal story. I don't think I've shared this with you before, but
No,
yeah,
this is new.
right.
Yeah. But
Mm.
I think like I recognize a few things in here,
Mhm.
and I will say to you that
Mhm.
first of all, like really appreciate you sharing this.
Mhm.
I know it's a very personal story, but it's a
Mhm.
very interesting one to me because I really sympathize with you. I really empathize with you on this one. I connect with you on many points, right? I especially when you said the words slow poison,
Mhm.
the company, I knew exactly what you were talking about, right? And that's something you find out later in life when you start looking back and you're like, okay, that's where I started to slow poison stuff, right? Because I was whether I was slacking off or whether I wasn't paying attention or I just completely given up. And so you say your epiphany came from an external source, like you looked at the data, you looked at the evidence, and then that basically turned you away from sort of this
Honestly, even
when
like external and internal, because I myself became, like I started vaping myself, right? And then I
right,
saw the lives that I was living with the vape, the what life I was living with vaping, right?
right,
And then I was like, man, what? This is, I myself, I'm trying, like, honestly, okay, let me put it this way. The day I decided to quit vaping,
right.
right, was the day everything changed. I was like,
I can
okay,
imagine, yeah.
I'm not behind the product. I'm trying to quit what I'm selling. How can I? Uh,
I know. How can
you
you sell something you don't even like consume yourself? Like we have no use for it.
exactly right. And the reason I was quitting was not just because, hey, I want to break. No, no, because I saw some harmful effects of it. Right? I
Exactly. Yeah.
saw I saw that I was more addicted to nicotine than I was ever before. I saw that my
Yeah.
breathing was heavier than ever before. I saw that
Yeah.
this thing would never ever leave my hand. I saw that I was hanging out places doing things that I would never do before. The thing like the money that I was spending was much more, like everything went south. Was
Right.
not what I was not the intention that I started this thing out with. Right? I
I completely agree with you, dude. I know so many people, just
so
sort
and
of
it's tough to let
when you're
go of
speaking about
success.
vapes.
Sorry?
Um,
Sorry,
I
man.
know. No, I was just gonna say I know so many
Mhm.
people that vape right now and they've never touched a cigarette in their life, and they're vaping nonstop. And you ask them like, any idea how much nicotine is in one of these things, right? Like. you know how addicted you're becoming to this, and people obviously they don't care anymore. They just like the act of doing it. But what I wanted to ask you, Ali, is having gone through this, right? Like, I know you have more to say, but I just wanted to know that having gone through this experience with this vape thing, do you think that now you sort of like approach. Ali, can you hear me?
Yeah, it just came back. As you said, you can hear me. That was the first thing I heard. The last
Oh,
thing I heard was like, I know many people vape, and then there was a 10 seconds of that robotic kind of sound, and now you're back.
oh, I don't know what happened. I think it's coming close to
Mm.
the limit,
Mm.
maybe again. But anyways, we'll go on for another 5-10 minutes. Like, it's just one last thing that
Mhm.
I wanted to like. What I was gonna say is, having gone through
Mhm.
this experience, right, of like having run a business and then sort of like looking at the evidence and then being completely turned away from it. Do you now approach? I shouldn't say like just businesses, but do you now approach your passions and your projects
Very
that you're doing?
selective. I have to see. That's what, like, honestly, and this is not the only thing. This thing I saw in a lot of other places too, Noman. Like, this was a big impact one, which opened my eyes because I had to. There was no way I could not analyze it, right? Because that's how people saw me, and now they were seeing me
Right.
different light, and I was seeing myself in a different light. So this one had to be analyzed. But then just because of this one, there were
Right.
so many others that I was like, yo, the same thing did happen before too. So this is what's been happening in a way. No, that's actually that's why people say that it's so easy once you do what you love, or or once you write about, like, that's why it becomes the growth and stuff becomes so easy because it comes from inside of you, kind of, it's very internal. But when things change, like when things
Right.
because honestly, I got on board not because just because money was the first thing that
Right.
got me on board, right? Second thing, that then I
Makes
found the
sense.
belief behind it. Then I was sold. Then let me put it this way. Then I was sold the belief behind it, which I bought. Okay. Then I sold it to myself. Okay. And then I ran with it. And then came the consumption part where I reassessed, realized, and then I had to, even though around me people were those people, the people who gave me the first belief still believed it, right? But I didn't
Right.
believe it because now I was doing a self belief, I was trying to create my own. It's just as exactly,
Assessment.
right? And that wasn't sitting. I was like, no, bro, this is nope. This is not what, right? This is not
Right.
it. This is not it, right? I
Right.
like I'm happy selling nicotine gums than selling this in my mind. Just as example, I'm saying, right? I'm like, bro, this is not the solution in my
Right.
mind. It might be solution in other people's mind, but now that I've become a user, I've gone in and out of the game. I see what it's, what the game is. This is not, yeah. So got it. And there have been so many things in life, even with relationships with people. Sometimes it's been like this. When your belief about something changes, it's hard to continue those things with those people as well. So business is something, and business falls into the same aspect of it. That's why that's why this podcast is so easy to do. It's so easy to do, and it's so fun to do, and it's so there's never a thought behind it because it's something that I know, like, there will never, like, to be very honest with you, there will never be there's no internal thing that could and I've checked this, right, within myself. I've checked this, that there's no way, like, this only benefits, right? I
Right. Yeah. No, that's
Hmm.
absolutely right. I agree with you.
so
It's only
so so to,
benefits.
to answer your question, that, bro, I go through this thing so much that, man, I like, if I was to put it this way, I have been asked from friends uh uh to open stores before. Okay, hey, we're gonna open stores. Okay, uh again, I had to do a big self check, right? Hey, and now I'm just drawing comparisons. I'm just staying on the similar line. There are other examples out there too, but I'm just trying to stay with the similar ones. Okay, and this might make people feel very different about it. Might make them feel, hey, this guy's over assessing, or to each their own, right? I was like, hey, bro, what are we? Uh, what kind of store it is? Uh, it's a vape store, Ali. I'm like, bro, I just got out of this. Bro, it's not you're not manufacturing anymore. It's just a store. It's by their choice. I'm like, man, it's the same thing. It's the same, it's still the same thing. I would not be able to. I can't. I can't. I don't believe in the product anymore. To be honest, I just don't believe in the product anymore. It's. And just imagine if you're a salesman, no one, right? And you know that you are selling shitty knives door to door, and you know the knives are shitty. How like do you think your motivation is going to be there? Do you think no, right?
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, absolutely not. I never do anything that
Right.
I don't believe in
So
anymore.
this is the biggest change, that it's about just doing what I believe, what you believe in. And so sometimes you even gotta see content this way, no man. So I'm just gonna so this is what I want you to reflect on. Okay. That it's because you are like you it's not about your systematic way of doing things. It might not be. I'm not the one to say, but maybe you can give this a thought. It's sometimes about the product itself, right? Why are you, like if I may just say, you make time for this easy, right? You make time for this very easy, right? Uh,
100%, yeah.
you
Yeah.
because within you it sits well, right?
Quite,
Right? The
definitely
content, the
does,
message,
yes.
the talks, the idea, the right. So
Yeah, yeah,
very
it
easy to
definitely
do.
does,
Is
yeah.
there any resistance within this?
No, I don't
Right?
sense any friction or any resistance. Like I find this to be just, the way I treat this is
Right?
just like a
So
conversation.
so these things kind of, I feel, you analyze, you understand that, man. If once you find things that are frictionless for you, it's so easy to pursue, and it's so easy to master. It's so easy to get better at, just because it's so easy to, like, as we discussed before, everything that needs requires change needs to be done first. If you're not even doing it anymore, then how are you going to change? How are you going to change it for the better? Sometimes things do become hard, difficult to do. And I don't know if my previous business wave story kind of helps you look at it in a different light, of scenarios around you. But I do believe that a change in belief changes everything around you completely. Your actions, your business, your motivation behind it. It's like, and sometimes you just want to do more, right? And then we were talking about how difficult, like, and now, okay, now you might slightly understand some of the things that we have spoken about, because this thing I never mentioned to you before, this part of the equation, right? Now you might be little bit able to draw, and this is a complete digression, Oman. This is a personal talk digression, okay? That now you might be able to see a little bit of the sliver of conversations that we have had before about giving up things. Remember all the
Yeah,
athlete stuff, why they change, right? So now you
yeah.
see a little bit of that sliver in this. You see, like,
I I I do. Yeah, I see where you're going with this. I
so
do.
that was
Yeah.
like, because this is just, again, this is a lot of the information you know about me before, but this is like a little bit new information. I don't even talk about it because it's so much in the past. I've learned the lessons, I moved on, so I just know that, hey, no need to, but again, since I this is just so that it might help you reflect on some of the things, right? That it's sometimes it's not about, it wasn't about how better I could make the juice. It wasn't about how much more sales I could do. It was just about what I wanted to do, right? And I just didn't want to do that anymore. basically, basically that was, and then that causes friction. Sometimes you gotta see where the friction is, right? Is it about my expertise, my knowledge, or is it just about my belief? To be honest with you, right? It might be, and it could be, and like it could really be about your belief too, right? Because I know since that time to now, you have grown so much. At a personal level, I know this.
No, I appreciate you saying that. I absolutely do. And yes, yeah, there are there are things I definitely have learned today. And I know this is that it's a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a digression. And I this is the thing
Mhm.
about like growth, right? Like I find that even now, like as you know, we've talked many times, even
Mhm.
right now as you were talking about like looking back sometimes. Like I look back sometimes and I have difficulty in identifying with the
Mhm.
person I was then, right? I have difficulty in understanding. I think what I should be more clear about is I have difficulty in understanding the mindset of that person, right? Because I'm trying to ascertain how this person arrived at that conclusion that this was going to happen, or how they believed in this particular outcome, right? I find that this is one of those things with growths where you end up questioning things around you and things you do a lot more. And it's I think it's a great indicator that someone is on the, I don't know if I should say this, Ali, because I don't.
Mhm.
Maybe it's that belief thing again. Maybe I'm not the authority on this one, but I feel like when you start asking these questions, when you start looking back, and the only things that come back to you are not negative feelings or negative emotions or disgust or embarrassment or shame, but it's more like questions. Because when you shift into that mindset, I feel that people are on their path to people on the right path, like they're on that growth path that they need to be. Because people who want to improve, who want to learn, who want to change are the only ones that are going to ask these tough, difficult, nearly impossible questions. Would you agree with
Hun-
me?
Man, 100%, 100%. It's a not to brag or so, or not to put it into, but it's a selective few. It's an intentional selective few. It's not
It's a
a,
very selective
yeah.
few. It's not. And the reason why I say this is because, as you've like communicated with me on
Mm.
many things today, right? I noticed this trend when you were reflecting on the past, like how you approached it.
Mm.
Like I made notes while you were talking about this because I was very interested in trying to figure out how you look at the past. And you approached it from sort of like, this sort of inquisitive, I need to question these kind of things. Like
Mhm.
you use the word question a few times, and I was like, see, that's what indicates someone is on that growth trajectory, right? Asking questions, because once you ask a question, now you need an answer to
Mhm.
satisfy that question. You'd have to be a really like thick and slow person to ask a question and then not expect an answer, right? Like you don't want to ask questions that don't have an answer. You want to find the answer. And I think belief is also one of those things, because you, like we discussed, right? You start with sort of beliefs that are instilled in you, and then you go through life and you maybe defend them, maybe you fight against them, and then you eventually arrive at that path where you start cultivating your own beliefs. And if I was to ask you, when you arrive at that path, I think like the trigger is asking the questions, right? Like, is this helping me? Is this serving me? Why do I believe in this? What does this all mean
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
me even? And and it's interesting like how what we've discussed sort of in this conversation right now. I know we talked about belief, but just learning about all the intricacies, and I am so surprised right now. Like, I will tell you this much, that my sort of like concept, my notion of belief that I have had up
Mhm.
until we had this conversation has now
Mhm.
been expanded, obviously. Like I specifically, when we first had this conversation, where I gave you this sort of like, this definition of what a belief is, that it's not a conviction, it's like a bundle of
Mhm.
joys, emotions,
Mhm.
whatnot, tangible to the whatever's to the actions and rituals. Your response wasn't, like, oh well, yeah, that's amazing. I agree with it. It's like you were immediately like, let's
Mhm.
let's ask some questions here, and not for the sake of asking questions. And I think like you also pointed out that it's about something that adjusts, right? It's not fixed. Because you really pointed that out, like I have to say that in actions and rituals, like it has to be something that you
Fixed.
adjust. It's
True.
not like a
True.
fixed
Mhm.
strategy, because that doesn't work, right? So I found that very interesting. And see, so, this is what really makes me happy about doing this, is because like I know that a strategy doesn't need to be fixed. Like I know that it has to be something that adjusts to it. But then the way you approached it, right? Like how you explained it, how you sort of like, pointed out like, well, what does that mean that a strategy isn't fixed? Right? Like, are we fixating on the outcome or are we fixating on that strategy? Because that's the next discussion we had, right? And I saw the difference. And I was like, huh, that's interesting, like how he's fixating on the strategy and how he's perceiving the strategy. So it's things like these I believe like foster a good conversation, and you learn a lot, and that's what I get out of this when we talk about like all of these topics, and when we talk about like belief and behavior and what I have learned from just this conversation. And I think I will also add one more thing to it, which was really interesting to me when we were talking about your the juices, the vape juice, right? It's I'm still thinking about the slow poison thing,
Yeah.
right? Like and not for the sake of like because you said you slow poisoned your own successful business, but because I know I have also been there, right? But I will tell you right now, Ali, that as successful as that consulting business was, as many clients as I had, and as much as money that they were paying, I know there were people that were paying like 5 figures a month just for me to do nothing, right? And then I slow poisoned it, but I never thought of it the way you thought of it, like that I slow poisoned it by not putting in the effort. When 48 clients became 45. When you said that, I literally remember when one of my clients said like, hey, can we cut this by $2,000 a month or something like that, right? Like reduce the cost by. And I didn't even fight him. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, because I wasn't doing much for him. I was just a standby, right? And that's how I started to slow poison it, but I didn't even identify with it. I wasn't enjoying the work anymore. I didn't believe in what I was doing. I should be more accurate in saying that, but I never saw it that way. And I thought about it after you said that, and I was like, I did the same thing, but how come I didn't see it, right? And it kind of circled in my head when we talked about that, but I wanted to come back to it
Please.
for a second, and I wanted to like ask you about specifically that slow poison reflection, because as I reflect on it now, I'm not looking at it as a
True,
negative
true. You
thing,
don't.
right? I, I yeah, I'm absolutely like I don't have any negative feelings towards it. My only thing is that now that I can see that I slow poisoned it, why did I stick with it for so long? If it wasn't something that brought me joy or contentment or completeness, why did I like? Because I worked on it for about another 6-ish months, 7-ish months, right? Before I shut it down. Before I was like, I don't want a client, like everybody get out. Like still went with it for 7 months. And what did it do for 7 months? Absolutely nothing. It just went downhill. Like the clients started to disappear, the monthly income started to disappear. I didn't care. So I was just kind of wondering about that. Like, did you think about that part? Like, why you carried on even after slow
So,
poisoning it?
a few, like honestly, a few things. First, it took some time to realize that, hey, this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. My interest for so many, at that point in time, I was thinking, man, did I get too comfortable with money? Right? Or did I hit my ceiling that I'm just content here? I was like, no, man, that's not it. Because I didn't start with because money wasn't the thing for me at that point in time. It was just I was just so happy knowing that I got a store in Vegas, I got a store in LA, I got a store in California. Oh, now I got a store in Beijing. Now that was the motivating part for me at that point in time, right? I was just happy saying that, man, the I visualize it as my product coming from my hand. I put the label on it. It's sitting somewhere on a shelf in Beijing, right? Or in or in Vegas or in Dubai or wherever it was at that point in time, right? That was the thing. And then suddenly it was it was more like okay, these people want more, but they're asking, example, as you said, right? They're asking me to make it sweeter by 1%. Example, the juice. Just this is very precise example. Uh, I'm not changing the formula. And they can take it or not take it. I knew if I just change it by 1%, I get all the sales back again with that client, even more so, because that was the feedback. Before I would do it at a heartbeat. Now I saw now the slow poison part, right? I couldn't figure out what I was doing, and then but it only comes with reflection now, no man, that I see that man, it all started the day I started thinking different about my product, and I know where it started, when it started, how it started. Even the reason I stuck with it, because my identity was at such, I was in such a circle, all my friends were according to that circle. I had the fear of losing money, I had the fear of not having an income, I had a fear of not having started something or else on the side. There were just so many fears at play at the same time, right? That it became a little bit of a moral issue. At the end, I was like, man, it's hurting me, it's a little bit hurting me that it's happening, that it's going away this slow, right? uh but at the same time, can just quit it just like that, can I didn't know, like, these were the things that I didn't know at that point. But now if you ask me, honestly, I think that was, as every habit or every change takes time, that negative changes also take time to fade away, right? As positive changes take time to come up, same thing is with the negative. It's not, because we do say this, right? It's not that you decide today and tomorrow it's done, right? For the positive, we say that all the time, right? It requires work. Right? So
All
it's
the time,
exactly
yeah,
the same
all
with
the
the
time.
negative, Noman. You get the realization one day, and then the fading part takes some time, because because you, like, like it's almost like a surgery kind of. You're removing parts of it, right? Doesn't happen in a day. Recovery part is there. You need to emotionally handle it, physically handle it, emotionally handle it, financially handle it, go through the changes, and change is never overnight. The realization is always quick, right? As you Realization is always quick, but the things that come after realization take some time. Even like, and I know this about the positive, that's why I know this about the negative. Even all the things that I read and understood and I realized, I saw it after a year or two in my life, to be honest, right? Like, even the good habits that I learned about, that I realized, it took a couple of years for them to come into my life. Same thing is with the negative. It takes time for the negative to go away. It takes it takes time. It takes time. So, and that's what I told myself. I was like, Ali, it wasn't that I could have just woken
Right.
up in the morning and just be like, it's all done. Website done, this and that done. It's all done. Nobody, like, as if I don't exist in that sphere anymore. It could not have been like that. Everything takes time, and this is the beauty of life, that things take time. The sooner you understand, whether it's negative or positive, it does take time to, you know, uh, for the process to come to. So that's how I looked. I was like,
Right.
man, if positives is positive, sorry, just to reiterate that, if the positive is taking time, so is the negative gonna
Right.
take time, and it took it time. Thank God it happened quicker. It happened like in 6 to 7 months, for me,
Uh-huh.
or like 8 months for me. It happened.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, I don't even know if I could have how I would have handled it if it would have happened all of a sudden, right? I that part I don't know, right? But yeah, that's life.
I think I think,
Mm,
Ali, for
mm,
one thing I'll say to this one about the whole
mm,
time aspect, like it plays a very important role in everything and anything we do, right? And a lot of people have a pretty bad understanding and a pretty bad relationship with time. We Many people assume that you can become an expert in things in overnight, or you can become good at something in a few days, or you can do what takes years for other people in a few months. Like I believed that I could become a really good trader in under 6 months.
mhm,
Like I actually believed that, right? And did it happen? Absolutely not. Like, did I become a good trader? Nowhere near a good trader, what a good trader would be. But when you change that sort of like
mhm,
that mindset, when you become more realistic. And something we should have a conversation on the whole aspect of time later, in another episode. But I want to bring this to a close, and I think like there's a question that I think we both should answer
Okay.
based on our own individual experiences. I think you might like this one. Is that if we were to teach sort of like what you and I have learned, or what you have learned, let's just do it on an individual basis about beliefs, right? What is, in your opinion, I will give you the luxury of two things. That two things you would want someone to know about belief that would save them a lot of trouble, save them a lot of pain and misery, and help keep them straight, so to speak.
Tough one, because so many things come to mind. So many things come to mind.
Right?
But I would
Yeah.
say, if somebody was asking, if somebody was to ask me about belief, I would say something that I learned recently is that uh, if you are gonna take up a belief, don't believe in the outcome, but focus on the belief, but get the confidence about that belief in your preparation. Believe in the preparation, not the outcome. Believe that if you've prepared good enough, the outcome will be positive or more probabilistic towards you. And second thing I would add is that believe in probabilities. Nothing is certain. No belief ends up certain. There's a probability. There's a probability. Be ready for that probability and understand that sometimes it might not exactly be as you envisioned or so, but it could always be corrected. With, you know what? Let me rephrase this. Belief is flexible. That's all I would say. Keep belief flexible. That's all I would say. Hmm.
Keep belief flexible. I like that. That's a very good way of thinking about it. Like, and I agree with you that belief has to be absolutely flexible.
Hmm.
I think from
Curious, yeah.
my perspective, the thing that I would want to say about belief is that be very, very realistic with it, right? Don't don't believe the grand vision in your head is. I'm not trying to say like don't believe in
Uh-huh.
the grand vision in your head.
Uh-huh.
Believe in the grand vision in your head, but be realistic about it. What, like, ask yourself this question: am I the ideal person right now to execute belief in that outcome, right? Like, I ask myself, like, what I want to achieve, can I even give it right now before I commit into that journey, before I believe in that outcome? Because there have been times where I have, believed that, yeah, I'm going to do, like, as an example, Ali, like, I'm going to take this trade and it's going to give me 90x return,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right? So there is no and I ask myself, like, what is the possibility of, like, what is the ideal situation that is needed for that to happen, and how much of that ideal situation do I control, right? Because the market isn't in my control. My entry and exit is in my control. That's the only thing that's in my control, right? Like, am I believing in the right entry points, the right exit points, or am I believing that the market will do what I want it to do because I am here, right? So you have to have realistic beliefs. Like, I tell myself that anytime I have a belief, I ask myself, what is the spice in this belief, right? What is that crazy, that delusion in the belief? That like, and it's not, I don't think there's anything wrong with being delusional, but I think, like, reining yourself back in the beginning, being realistic, is an amazing way to see things through. And then you can chase that grand vision because now you have a solid foundation, just sort of like how I
I
see belief now.
I
Being
I
realistic
loved
with it.
every word you said, especially the part where you said that be delusional. It's okay to be delusional. That part, honestly, I
Yeah.
agree with. Or else, why the belief, right? If it's not grand, if it's not
Why the belief? Yeah, you
the,
have to be
but
delusional.
be real about the process. I think the biggest thing that we discussed over here is
Yes.
like for me, the biggest takeaway of this is time, Noman. That a mature belief requires
Yeah.
time horizon needs
Time.
to be every and again, just because sorry, I'm just going to expand on this just a little bit more. That this, like,
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
even when we talk about, like, athletes and stuff, right? They know, like, from a from a very young age, they have a vision of becoming the champion or the Olympic gold medalist or, whatever it might be, right? But their coaches or their mentors are the ones who give them the reality of a time check, right? That, okay, you're starting this at age 10, right? We are looking to get our first gold medal at the age of 18 or 21, example, right? Whereas if there was not a mature person or a mentor to guide them with their belief, they would want it the next year, right? I want to be a champion. What would a coach tell me?
Right.
Okay, we're going to start training. It's going to take this much time for amateur, this much time for professional. He's going to give
Yeah.
me a realistic time or is it timeline, right?
Timeline. Yeah. Be
But
realistic,
if I
right?
was just to do it
Yeah.
myself, what would I do to myself? You know what I would do, right? Well, I shouldn't put I. You know what a person would do, because I wouldn't do it now. But you know what a person would do.
That's the thing, right? Like
Hmm.
I love your boxing example because that's the thing, right? Like what's this one? I had this conversation many years ago about boxing, right? And it was with a boxing coach, and the boxing coach said to me that within every person there is a great boxer. I'm not talking about the greatest boxer in all of recorded human history, but like there is a great boxer because every
Mhm.
boxer has a style, right, of fighting. You just have to find out. So I asked him, like, could you make me into a great boxer? And he asked me like, oh, do you know any boxing? And I was like, yeah, I boxed a few. And he's like, if you want to become a great boxer, what I need from you
Mhm.
is time. That's all I need from you. And I said to him, you don't want me to believe in myself? He's like, the training will make you believe in yourself as long as you accept that the training is going to take time.
In- Mhm.
And and it gets better because I asked him like, well, what do you mean the training will help me believe in myself? Bro, he looked at me and he said, there's two versions of you. There's a version you believe you are. There is the version that training will show you who you really are. And he's like, that is the realistic version because you think in your head, like, yeah, I can punch like, Rocky Balboa. Maybe you can punch harder, or maybe you can't punch as hard. Like, your training is going to show you who you really are. It's going to show you what your limit is. And then there will be a question at the end of the day, like, do you believe you can cross
Mhm.
this limit? Right? Then that's up to you. Right? That's that
Mhm.
delusional part
Mhm.
we talk about. Right? You get a little delusion that, "Oh, I have to do it now." Right? Like,
Mhm.
I can do it. But it was I love what he said about the training because I you can take that training and you can replace that with anything. Your systems and processes will show you, who you really are, how much you really believe in this one. If you created really good ones, they will stand the
Yes.
test of time,
Mhm.
right? Like
True.
no
True.
one's gonna come and say like, well, he didn't. And I want to say something to this, Ali, just because
Mm.
I mentioned this. I had this
Mm.
thought just come into my head. Uh, I quickly, like, I don't know why it even came to my head. I thought of some of my
Mhm.
failures, just as I said this statement that your
Mhm.
preparation, your system and processes will show you how much you believed in something. I'm looking at one or two of my failures right now, and I don't blame the project that failed. I blame
Mhm.
my systems and processes because I didn't create good ones, and it tells me that I did not believe in this hard enough. I believed in that, that surface level excitement you
Mhm.
get about things. Like, yeah, 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 it sounds so amazing, man. And then you get to like, oh, it's so much work, and I don't want to do this. Like, do you see the evolution that's even happening within this conversation? Is how we're
True.
looking.
And as you were talking about the coach thing, some other point came to my mind. I
Right,
was like, man, it's so crazy that sharing your belief with the right person, right, changes
right.
everything about like it could change everything about your endpoint of that, of like it could really change your success. Just sharing it with the right person, right? You share this with a coach, you share this with a random
Yeah.
person, your belief about becoming a good boxer, the advice that comes from there and the advice that comes from there, right? It's like and just a very small example. It's a uh, y- there's this book called The Richest Man in Babylon or so, The Richest Man, in which
I've
there's
read
a
it. Yeah.
small conversation. Somehow that conversation is coming in my mind that the person tells him that, hey, invest your gold wisely. Okay. And then I will come back to you and ask you like in a few months or so. The person comes back and asks the person, go like, hey, how did it go? You made the money. That phase one done. Phase two. He's like, oh, I lost all my gold. He's like, how come? He's like, I took advice from this person. Who is that person? This person is a welder. Okay. So the guy says like take advice from people who are in gold, not people who are not in that industry. You feel me? Like, don't take advice from what does a welder know about making money through investment? It's not to diss any occupation, but you see the point that I'm trying to make, right? Like, it's so important.
I am
Mm,
absolutely, yeah, I love this point that you've made. I love it so much.
mm,
And just to really quickly add to this point, this is the same reason why they tell people that start their own business, don't take
mm,
feedback
mm.
from family, right? Don't take feedback from friends. Don't get friends to sign up for your project, or don't get family to, like, make that first purchase. That's
And
meaningless.
ask and expose you. Like, ask like,
Yeah,
go to the right person, right? That's so important. And
you
people
have
who
to
have
go to
found
the
the
right
right
person. You
person
have to
have
go to
gone
the
so
last
far. Like people who have, because they see some, like there's so many examples, man. Like especially with athletes, how they compliment their coaches throughout their life, right? But like, man, this guy, they don't even say me. They say, man, this guy made it happen for me, right? He put me on, he put me on track. He gave me the direction. He gave me the truth, the reality, the practice, the patience, whatever. Because it's so like, because when they say don't expose your dreams to anybody, I say expose your dreams to the right people. And if you do that, your dreams just go 10x, bro. 10x. I believe in that because people do have this notion, right? Don't expose your dreams to anybody, bro. Expose it to the right people and see, right? What, how far it can go just because. But again, I think just a good point to kind of end on. Important though, but I think that's fascinating actually.
It is, yeah. Next time, I think, what do you think about a conversation on time? Like, just a general conversation on, like, the impact of time on life. I find like it keeps coming back, but we can talk more about it later offline. But I feel like we
Time.
always come back to time, you know. But yeah, it was a wonderful
Well
conversation,
said.
Ali. I genuinely, like, I I have seen some things slightly differently. I don't know if I've been able to communicate them today, but I have some homework for me, is what I would say. Like, there are some things I need to go back and just ask myself some better questions. But yeah, thank you so much for
Of
your time,
course.
bro. We'll connect
Thank you,
next
brother.
week again.
Thank you, my bro.
All right.
Have a good one ahead.
Okay,
Catch you
bro.
soon,
Take
okay?
care.
Peace, peace.
All right. Bye.